The Lakers 4 and the Suns nothing, not even a minute into the ball game. Off the tip, the Lakers' Smush Parker made the reception in front court and a lob pass to the rim. Number 8, Kobe Bryant at the rim with a two-handed slam dunk. And then the Lakers come back with another field goal. The Phoenix Suns now take over with 8 to shoot on the inbounds. Foul call on Bryant a moment ago. Dial's fall-away jumper rimming, and it is recovered by Walton. We'll set the lineups for you on the fly here this afternoon in Los Angeles. But most notably, the Phoenix Suns will have James Jones starting at a forward rather than Tim Thomas. And that's a lot of firepower initially out of the Phoenix Suns lineup. Here's Bryant with the ball down the left side of the lane, turns to the middle, angles to the glass, and laid it up and in over Raja Bell.
And Raja Bell that time just backed off, didn't want to get the foul. We talked to Phil Jackson about Kobe Bryant, what he's done with this offense. He says, hey, I can score anytime I want, but I want to go about getting my teammates into this game.
Suns with the ball at the near point. Nash on a Dial screen. Pull up. Kobe to make it Brown closing out on Nash, but too late. Nash gets rid of a deep two, knocks it down, and the Suns on the board for the first time.
I'm not even sure, Kevin, how Nash was able to see that basket. I thought Kwame Brown was going to get a piece of that ball.
Luke Walton with it outside the three-point ring. Drops it to Smush Parker in the far corner, and then in on the block it comes to Brown. Backs down on Dial. Shot him an elbow. Dial flops. Brown missed the hook shot, and the rebound recovered by the Phoenix Suns.
You're exactly right. That flop might have affected Kwame Brown because he was wide open at the basket.
Nash into the lane, switches right to left hand, angles in right to left, beats Smush Parker to the rack, and laid it in with a swooping right-hand scoop. Lakers lead is 2. Lamar Odom with the ball outside the three-point arc. Looking to post Parker on Nash. Parker will get it, but Jones down in his lap creates pressure for Parker, gets rid of it to Brown. We tried to do too much with a dribble, and he kicked it out of bounds. It'll be Suns basketball.
Well, you saw both guys, Smush Parker down in the post and Kwame Brown on the perimeter. Neither guy comfortable in that position. I'm not sure that's what Phil Jackson was looking for on that possession.
Dial with the ball, high post, turns, faces, and fires. Floats a 17-footer up from the left angle. Kobe Bryant with a rebound. A hip-high dribble into front court. Gets inside the three-point arc and sends it cross-court to Odom, waiting at the point. Over to Parker. They're looking low to Walton, trying to get him the ball, but Jones fronts him. They go high post to Brown on the left side of the lane. 8 to shoot. Bouncing off to Kobe. Already has 2 buckets. Turns, twitches, leans in, but Bell won't budge. Bryant persists. Turnaround jumper up and in with 1 on the shot clock. Kobe Bryant hits a fader on that left baseline.
Good choice, word selection there. He was persistent about that. Raja Bell all in his face. He relaxed for a second. Bell puts his hands down, and then Kobe just kind of shoots a little fade away.
LA by 4. Nash, center of the court, comes down the left side on the Dial screen, but Kobe Bryant turns him outside with 7 to shoot. Nash maintains the dribble. A sweeping right to left. Switches to the right hand and scoops it off the glass up and in. A magnificent move by Nash.
And Kobe Bryant turns around and goes, hey, where's my help? I think what he might want to do is look at himself because Nash just went right by Kobe with the crossover.
8-6 count. Lakers on top. Bryant dumps it to Odom. Backs, turns, angles in. Hard foul applied by Dial. And it will send Lamar Odom to the line for 2 shots.
And I think the key for the Phoenix Suns is the gentleman that was just guarding Lamar Odom. You had Sean Marion down there, and he tried to play him too high on the top side that opened up the baseline, so he had to get some help from that side. But Sean Marion, a guy that's been averaging a double-double in the regular season, needs to step up, only averaging about 7.5 rebounds a game. I think he is the key today for the Phoenix Suns.
Starting lineups brought to you by Radio Shack. Lamar Odom, Smush Parker, Luke Walton, Kwame Brown, and Kobe Bryant for the Los Angeles Lakers, while Sean Marion, Steve Nash, Boris Diaw, James Jones, and Raja Bell go for the Suns. Second free throw missed. That allows the Suns to run. An open opportunity in transition for Jones. He missed it. Rebound tipped out, taken by Odom across midcourt, gathering steam. Turns into the lane, double teamed over to Kwame Brown. Did not make the catch. Grazed the shoulder. Came off to Marion. On to Nash. On the run is Jones to the baseline. Shot rejected by Odom. Goaltending the call. They're going to count the bucket.
I don't know about that. That's Lamar Odom. In the regular season, only averaging 0.8 blocks per game. And in the playoffs, he's been averaging averaging 1.6, doubling his block average. They're actually now calling a foul and saying the basket was good after there was a little conference between the officials.
Kenny Maurer and Sean Corbin come together. Corbin had the foul. Maurer's early indication was a goaltending. So the bucket will indeed count, and James Jones will go to the line. And he has played sparingly so far in the playoffs, averaging 8 minutes in an appearance in each one of the previous 3 playoff games. He's not been at all active offensively, but he's certainly capable. He's 1 for 5 shooting from the field in the previous 3 games, and Jones makes it a 3-point play with a free throw up and in.
These are 2 teams at the present moment, because of injuries, that are not very deep. So you're going to see a majority of their scoring from their starters. You saw all 5 Lakers scores, a starter scoring double figures in Game 3.
Suns take the lead, and then the Lakers come down in the half court, try to go to Odom, who is defended by Marion, and a foul called on Marion for reaching around. 14 to shoot for the Lakers. They'll bring it in bounds in front of their own bench.
As good a defender as Sean Marion is, he cannot guard Lamar Odom in the post because of Odom's height. And they might continue to try to push that issue.
Lakers swing it in play. Odom will get it back. Comes to the top of the key. Hands off to Walton, left-hand side of the three-point arc. Makes a move. Kicks it out to Odom for 3. In and out. Rebound. Grabbed by Jones, and Nash is on the fly now with the outlet into front court. He pins Parker on a screen. Diaw actually rolls on the pick, made the catch and laid it in. He had Parker on his hip and laid it home.
Good screen on Parker. Then Smush Parker didn't do his job by sticking with Diaw on the screen, and he allowed him to get the layup at the basket.
Suns take their largest lead, and Kwame Brown now gets it on the left side. Tried to take a giant leap into the paint. Did, but slammed into Jones, knocked him down. That's a charge, and Kwame Brown has been unable to get any kind of rhythm going early. That's the 3rd Laker turnover.
And as good as Kwame Brown has played in this series, 13.6 rebounds. He has had a terrible start here. That offensive foul would give him three turnovers for him in this first quarter.
Suns set up in a half-court offense. Nash will give to Diaw, gets it back, and strokes a 3 up and in on the left side. And the Suns take their largest lead here early at 14-8.
And as he runs down the floor, he gives the old gooseneck, leaves his hand up in the air like he knew that was going in.
10-0 Suns run. Nash is 4 for 4 from the field. Odom double-teamed right sideline. Gives it high post to Brown. Turns, perplexed, nowhere to go. He'll go up top, a 15-footer. He missed it. Suns come down with a rebound, something they've been unable to do in the previous 3 games. Here's Nash outside. He'll trigger the jumper, and his string of 4 for 4 is now off the charts. The rebound grabbed by Odom, and now the Lakers on the attack. In the half court, Kobe double-teamed and jammed. Gives to Odom. Nice pass. Inside to Walton at the rim. He'll turn and lay it in.
Well, as Lamar Odom started to penetrate, the defense collapsed. He was able to thread that pass with a bounce pass to Walton at the basket.
18 to shoot for the Suns in the half court. Bell moves laterally on the Diaw screen. Drop step pivot into traffic. Tried to get off the pass. Caught in the air, and the ball pinned at his hip by Lamar Odom. And we'll have a jump ball.
He ran into both Kwame Brown and Lamar Odom as we go into this timeout. Phil Jackson is infamous for letting his players work out their problems, but because of this start by Kwame Brown, how long will he leave him out there? Because right now he is really hurting them on the offensive end. As you see, Phil Jackson immediately walks out to the floor and takes Kwame and follows him onto the bench and starts getting into his ear.
5:56 left here in the opening quarter in Game 4. From Los Angeles, it's the Phoenix Suns 14 and the Los Angeles Lakers 10. The NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio, presented by Radio Shack, continues after these messages from your local station.
On ESPN Radio.
5:56 to go, opening quarter. The Phoenix Suns lead the Lakers 14-10. Don't forget to log on to ESPNradio.com. Vote in the AutoZone In the Zone poll question. Who's going to be in the zone? Brought to you by AutoZone. Get in the zone. AutoZone. Well, Steve Nash hit his first 4 shots. He has 9. Kobe Bryant's hit his first 3 shots. He has 6. Phoenix over the Lakers, 14-10, 5:56 to go, opening quarter. The NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio, presented by Radio Shack. Back to the Staples Center. Kevin Calabro and Will Perdue.
Thank you, Mark. It's time now for Will Perdue's game plan, brought to you by the U.S. Postal Service and USPS.com/Smart Business.
Well, I appreciate that, Kevin. And I think for the Lakers, I think most importantly is Kobe needs to continue to show his extreme patience. You know, we had the ability to talk to Phil prior to the game, and he just said one thing that Kobe did tell him, even though they're running the way they're running them within the offensive system, he said, hey, if necessary, I can get my shot off whenever I need to. And him and Phil seem to have a good balance right now of what's going on in this game. And also we talked about guys that are really stepping up for the Lakers. Lamar Odom, averaging 15 points a game in the regular season, giving them 9 rebounds in the regular season, giving them almost 13. How about Luke Walton? 5 points a game in the regular season, giving them 14. You want to talk about the Phoenix Suns? The difference is, and you talked to D'Antoni, talked about we must knock down shots, but I think they also must impose their will. And their will is to play an up-tempo style of game, and they've done that early today.
Tim Thomas in the lineup now for the Phoenix Suns, averaging 17 points and 10 rebounds as we'll jump it up between Odom and Bell. It's won easily by the 6'10 Odom, tipping it out to Parker, and the Lakers now in business in front court, and Bryant holding at the center of the court. Right sideline, it comes to Odom. Enters it mid-block right to Walton. Has Leandro Barbosa on his hip. Coming to the ball side is Brown for a jump hook up and in of 5 feet.
One thing that Phil Jackson likes about Luke Walton is his ability to pass the ball out of the post, and that was a perfect example.
Suns lead, trimmed to 2. Nash quickly to Marion. He'll dispatch one from 15 feet, floating it up and badly missed off the back rim. The recovery made by Walton.
Credit that to Kwame Brown. Came and contested that shot, and as far as you just talked about, Marion put a little too much arc on it.
Parker isolated on Nash, whirls in, but a fall-away 15-footer partially deflected by Nash came up short. Thomas with it, and now the Suns on the attack. Nash head up and probing double. Cross court to Bell for 3. Bryant closing out quickly. Missed the shot. Parker comes down with a rebound.
How about the Phoenix Suns? They're not hesitating. Still shooting 6 of 13, but some of their shots they've missed badly.
Lakers have out-rebounded them 7-5. Keep an eye on that number this afternoon. The Lakers have dominated the glass in the series. Bryant with it, 9 to shoot. Backing down on Raja Bell. He'll turn to the middle. Sweeps it up and in from the dotted line. Beautiful move as he just elevated over the clutter.
Well, would you say prior to that, last time he got the ball in the left post, persistence, he was determined to get that shot off that time.
14 all count. Bell with it, stumbles down into the lane. Walton comes to help out with Kobe, but a foul's going to be called on Kobe Bryant. This will be the second on Kobe.
And what does Phil Jackson do as he looks down the bench? He's going to put somebody else in because still 4:26 left in the fourth quarter. Phil's not happy because they wouldn't allow him to put the sub in for Kobe. Let's see if the Suns go right at him.
Nash on the inbound, circles off a screen from Thomas. Is driven deep to the far corner by Kwame Brown. Now Nash will turn, surveys the scene, gives to Marion, and he pops that rather unorthodox straightaway jumper up and in from about 13 feet away. 4 minutes remaining in the first quarter, and the Suns lead it 16-14. Coming off the screen, Kobe Bryant. He delays, swings it left side to Odom, slinks to the lane, glides between defenders, and laid it in with the left hand.
Well, Sean Marion tried to step in the passing lane and steal that. When he did that, Lamar Odom was able to pick the ball up and go to the basket.
Score tied at 16. 3:46 to go first quarter. Nash wide open down the left side of the lane. Teardrops it up and in, coming off a high screen.
I'd say Steve Nash has got the crossover working so far. He's got it on Kobe, that time on Kwame Brown. 3 guys left in the starting lineup.
Nash 5 for 6, hit his opening 4, and the Suns take the lead of 2, 18-16. Walton trying to make inroads to the baseline is stopped over there by Barbosa. Contact made, and the foul on the young Brazilian, Barbosa.
And even if Phoenix is not hitting their shots, as the outside perimeter shots are getting a lot of penetration at the basket, they need to continue to pick up the tempo. And we've even heard Coach D'Antoni talk about, hey, if you're open, take it. He only yells at guys when they don't take open shots. Very hesitant to say anything to a guy if he takes a bad shot.
Lakers bringing it bounds, 14 to shoot. Third team foul on the Suns and the Lakers with 3 as well. Odom holding top of the key, looking for Walton, who's fending off Barbosa, fronting. And a foul called on Barbosa, 4th team foul on the Phoenix Suns with 3:21 remaining here in this first period. Barbosa picks up his 2nd foul. Eddie House is in now for the Phoenix Suns. He is capable of exploding, Will. He's averaging, however, just under 3 points per game in the previous 3 and 8 minutes per contest. On the inbounds, Walton backs down on that low block right side, turns and twists, and it's a fall-away jumper over Barbosa. That's a tough matchup for Phoenix.
And this could be the coming-out party for Luke Walton, as we talked about, averaging 10 points over his regular season average.
Score tied at 18. Phoenix on the attack now in the half court, and it's Marion in low. Turns a little snap hook, won't go, but from the weak side, Thomas at 6'10", floats up to the rim and tapped it in.
And something you haven't seen a lot of from the Phoenix Suns prior to this game, offensive rebounds with 36-12 Lakers.
2:46 left first quarter. Suns on top, 20-18. Odom again with the ball, way above the head. Marion on him. Drops it on the right block to Walton now. They isolate him. He backs down and turns. Another fall-away jumper won't go. Odom and Thomas in a tip match. Odom comes down with it, turns, trying to lay it up, had it blocked, but he's fouled. Knocked to the floor. Odom will shoot two.
And the length of Odom, he could not grasp that ball. He took 3 times, tapped it to himself in between Tim Thomas and Sean Marion.
Foul on Thomas puts Phoenix over the limit the rest of the way with 2:30 remaining in the first quarter. A timeout on the floor. The score, the Suns 20 and the Lakers 18. You're listening to the NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio, presented by Radio Shack.
Mark Kestecher in the studio. Steve Nash, 11 points, 5 of 6 shooting. Kobe Bryant has 8 points. The Suns lead the Lakers 20-18. 2:30 to go in the opening quarter. Today's game brought to you by AutoZone. Get in the zone. AutoZone. Back to Los Angeles. Kevin Calabro and Will Perdue.
Thank you, Mark. Kobe Bryant has picked up 2 first quarter fouls, and he is on the bench now for the Lakers, who are shooting at a hot clip, 9 of 14, 64%. The Suns at 53%, 9 of 17, Will. And Steve Nash getting to the rim, as Mark just mentioned, 5 of 6.
Well, we talked to Phil Jackson prior to the game about, what are you trying to do? He said, well, we're just trying to corral. He didn't even use the word contain. He used the word corral Steve Nash. But we've talked about how he's used that crossover to go by a couple Lakers today and get baskets at the hoop. And what that's going to do is continue to collapse the defense. And then if that continues, you'll see, even though the Phoenix Suns are knocking down some shots from the perimeter right now, they won't hesitate to keep taking them. And you could see a different style of game and a different story in the second half.
Lamar Odom to the line, averaging 19 points and just shy of 13 rebounds a game in this series. Also with 4 assists, he's second on the team in that category to Kobe Bryant's 5.7. Odom hits the first free throw. And the second follows, and we're tied at 20-20.
Well, let's see what happens here with Steve Nash on the sideline. Can the Phoenix Suns still continue to generate offense here in this first quarter?
Suns set up in a half-court. Diaw now covered by Devin George. Lobs it low to Marion. Tried to redirect him with the left hand, but leaping over Odom at the time and a foul called. Let's see if he'll go to the line. I believe he will. He was in the act of a controlled tip for a putback, and he will shoot 2 on the foul to Odom.
Not happy with that call, but again, still attacking the basket are these Phoenix Suns as Sean Marion goes to the line for 2 free throws.
Second foul on Lamar Odom. And Marion in the series, averaging 17 points and just under 8 rebounds in 42 minutes of work. Shooting 42% from the field, 2 of 9 from 3. And has gone to the line sparingly, Will. Just 3 attempts per ball game in the previous 3.
Well, is there any question what the Phoenix Suns were trying to do in this game? 2:18 left in the first quarter. Kobe Bryant on the bench with 2. Lamar Odom on the bench with 2 fouls. They're being very aggressive, setting the tone here. And even though we talk about they're a perimeter-oriented team, they've done a very good job of attacking the basket here early.
Yep, they have gotten into the paint. And as a result of taking the lead on 2 Marion free throws, Parker drifts into the paint. He was doubled. Tried to swing it to the wing. The ball deflected. Grabbed outside by George Penn to shoot. Sasha Vujacic with the basketball. Left-sided Bryant Cook for 3. Drilled it.
Brian Cook, a guy that's only shooting 32% from the field right now, had been shooting 50% during the regular season.
Laker bench has played very well. Vujacic, a couple of big threes in game 3. Down low, Marion in the base, throws outside the house at the point. Back it comes to Marion, repost, tried to scoop a pass deflected, grabbed by Barbosa in the clutter. Running right-hander is short. Rebound tip, Vujacic with a rebound.
How about this lineup for the Lakers right now? No Odom, no Kobe Bryant. How often do you see this lineup?
The lone veteran Devin George sets a screen for Smush Parker. Parker isolated, fires over Barbosa. A three, crawls off the rim. Diao, a tough, muscular rebound. The outlet pass to Barbosa on the fly, into the lane. Lead it in as he avoids Parker.
Boy, no hesitation that time. As soon as Diao got that rebound, he put the ball on the floor and started heading to the other end.
1:08 left in the first quarter. Good ball game. The Suns on top, 24-23. Out on the left wing is Parker, trying to glide in. He spins out of control, juggled the ball. Another Laker turnover. That is their fourth of the first quarter. Back come the Suns in the run out. Diao again takes it into the paint, went right to the defense, and is fouled as a result. He will shoot two.
Well, Boris Diao on both ends of the floor. Smush Parker tried to attack that basket. Diao did. You hear this talking about post players all the time. Pulled the chair out. There was no contact for Parker, so he fell to the floor and just threw it up at the basket. And then when he got the ball on this end, just attacked. Actually looked for body contact more than it looked like he was looking at the rim, but he got the call from the officials.
Fans, log on to ESPNradio.com to ask Will Perdue your USPS question of the game. It's easy. Click the USPS question of the game link and submit your question. If your question is answered on the air, you will receive a 1-year ESPN Insider subscription. Free access to exclusive content on ESPN.com and ESPNradio.com.
That's a pretty good little prize pack there.
Barbosa's first free throw is good. With 54 seconds left in the first quarter, Barbosa with 2 free throws made puts the Phoenix Suns on top 26-23. Suns have led by as many as 6. The Lakers likewise. Vujacic handling, feeds it high post, right of the lane. With it is Walton. Takes a handoff, comes across the free throw line, and fires out on the left wing to George. George will give it to Cook. Sidesteps Thomas, adjusts with 7 to shoot, and rattled in. A stiff jumper on the left wing just inside the three-point arc.
Cook starting off 2 for 2 this game, all from the perimeter.
Eddie House the other way again, takes it into the paint. The finger roll went off the back rim. The Phoenix Suns wanted a goaltend or a foul. They'll get neither. The ball tipped out of bounds. Last touch by the Suns, or did...
I think that what D'Antoni's talking about to Bennett Salvatore is that the Phoenix Suns hit the rim, which shook the basket, which he says should be an automatic goaltending call because that is basket interference.
They won't get a call, they won't get goaltending, and the Lakers will get the basketball with a chance to take the lead at the end of the first quarter. Actually, 3 seconds between game clock and shot clock, and 3 seconds, as you know, can be an eternity for the Suns. But the Lakers have it now with George out of the corner for 3. Off the back rim, Thomas with a rebound. Thomas with 3, across midcourt with 2. Into the lane with 1, pulls up on the jumper. It won't go, and the buzzer sounds ending the first quarter here in Los Angeles with a score of the Suns 26 and the Lakers 25.
The Lakers dodged the bullet that time. Thomas gets the rebound, whips around, takes it down to the other end of the floor. 4-on-2 for the Phoenix Suns, but unable to capitalize here at the end of the first.
Today's game is brought to you by Lamisil AT. Lamisil AT lets you treat athlete's foot between the toes 4 times faster than Tinactin and Lotrimin AF. Lamisil AT, advanced treatment. At the end of the first quarter from Los Angeles, our score, the Phoenix Suns 26, the Los Angeles Lakers 25. You're listening to the NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio, presented by Radio Shack.
On ESPN Radio.
After 1 quarter, Suns lead the Lakers 26-25. In case you missed it earlier, our playoff game previous to this, the Bulls blow a 13-point lead, trail in the fourth quarter, but they don't fold down the stretch.
At the top of the key, now down the lane, a pitch out into the right corner to Duhan. 7 to shoot. Here's Heinrich out front. A long 3. Oh, Kurt Heinrich sticks a cold-blooded 3, and the Bulls go up by 5.
Jim Durham had our call, the play of the game, brought to you by GMC. GMC Trucks and SUVs. We are professional grade. Kirk Heinrich hits for 21, that big 3 with 1:09 left. Bulls beat the Heat 93-87. That first-round series tied at 2, headed to Miami on Tuesday. We're headed to the second quarter in L.A. Phoenix 26, the Lakers 25. Back to Kevin Calabro and Will Perdue.
Thank you, Mark. The Suns in the first quarter shot 47%. The Lakers at 61%. They were led by the 6 points of Odom and the 8 of Kobe Bryant. However, Kobe picked up a couple of fouls, and so did Odom in the first quarter, and Phil really had to do some juggling there, Will, toward the end with his lineup.
And he really did, and now as we start the second quarter, both Kobe Bryant and Lamar Odom on the court together. It's kind of a fine line for Coach D'Antoni of the Phoenix Suns. He wants to get one of those two guys to pick up their third foul early to get them out of here for the rest of the first half, but he also needs to do that within the frame of the offense. They're still looking to push it. It's obvious they're attacking the basket on the dribble, only taking 2 field goals from outside the three-point line. They average 10 a game.
Kobe is back in with Odom, George, Cook, and Vujacic. The Phoenix Suns with possession, 14 to shoot. And Diaw with it, top of the key. Makes his move into the lane. Had it ripped, got it back. Sends to Barbosa, steps up, pops, and misses from the angle on the right side, 15 feet out. Rebound deflected by Merriam, but into the vicinity of Vujacic. Vujacic secures it, and the Lakers set up in a half court.
Well, with the lineup they have out there, if Sean Marion or Raja Bell don't get the rebound, the other 3 guys are already back on defense for the Suns.
Bell rides Bryant across the baseline as Kobe maneuvered over to the ball side. The foul on Raja Bell. He's joined out there by Sean Marion, Boris Diaw, Eddie House, and Leandro Barbosa. Suns on top, 26-25. For the second period. And an offensive foul whistle on the Lakers for an illegal screen, Will.
Well, I tell you what, Brian Cook stepped up and hammered Raja Bell, and that threw Bell into Kobe Bryant, which knocked Kobe Bryant off. Are they giving that to Kobe?
Oh, they are. Well,
wow.
However, they just indicated 4-3, and then they changed it to Kobe Bryant as third. On the post-up, Barbosa. Missing a lefty. He was so startled by Bryant's presence, he missed an easy one.
But Bryant wasn't even playing defense. He was looking at the official trying to tell him that foul wasn't on him.
And Bryant drives into the lane, kicks out, charges, knocking Raja Bell down. The foul is on Bryant, and there's some confusion here at the scorer's table. Gary Vitti, the trainer of the Lakers, comes down to make sure that third foul was indeed on Bryant. We know this foul's on Bryant. He has now 4 fouls assessed to him.
Now, they did correct it when they were running down the floor. They gave that foul to Brian Cook, so Kobe Bryant does have 3. Now the question is, there's still 11 minutes to go in the second quarter. Does Phil Jackson keep him out this whole game, the whole second quarter?
Yeah, the officials just came by to clear that up quickly as Eddie House teased one up and rattled it in and out. Now the Lakers make the recovery with Odom controlling off the glass. And now he'll walk it up the floor with 17 to shoot. The Lakers set up in a half court. Suns on top, 26-25. Odom mid-block right, doubled, swings it out to the far point to Vujacic. Back it comes to Odom here at the near side. Now to George, tried to make a move. He slipped and stumbled. Raja Bell all over him. George maintains a dribble and actually gets off a shot that rims off into the hands of an alert Smush Parker. He'll circle back outside.
Well, an interesting start here for this second quarter with the guys that are taking the shots.
Brian Cook outside. He's hit a 3 and a deep 2. Now he'll just tee up another 3. That one swirls and pops out into the hands of Barbosa. Barbosa peels out, works it into front court with a dribble handoff to House, and then fades, gets it back. Barbosa, a 3 is up and short. Vujacic with a rebound.
Boy, Barbosa's not shy today, is he, Kev? He's just launching from everywhere.
He's 1 for 5, however. Suns maintain a lead at 26-25. 9:50 to go, second period. Odom with it, baseline right. Forced by Marion to the baseline help, but Odom takes it right inside on Barbosa. Banks and scores is fouled, and Odom will go to the line.
I was curious who he was going to give this foul to. I think he's giving it to Barbosa. That would be his third. But he was coming out prior to this anyways. You know, like we talk about how Mike D'Antoni doesn't necessarily yell at players for the shots they take. The shots that Barbosa has taken, he has been open, but probably not the best shots, and Jermaine Jones was already sitting at the scorer's table to get him before he picked up that third foul.
Barbosa out with his third. Just to clear up any confusion that you may have had, Kobe Bryant has 3 fouls, and Brian Cook has 2. The early indication was that Bryant had picked up his third, and no sooner did they give him 3 than he picked up what would have been his 4th, but they've changed that now. And Odom, in the meantime, rattles in a free throw for a 3-point play, and the Lakers take a lead at 28-26. 9:37 to go in the first half. Diaw swings near point to Nash, drops it low to Marion, double, back to Nash for 3. Got it.
So Devin George and Smush Parker got switched up. And Smush Parker ended up buried behind Sean Marion, so Devin George went down the double, but nobody rotated to pick up Steve Nash on the perimeter.
His second three of the afternoon, 14 points for Nash, 29-28. George outside, top of the key, he'll release and knocks down a beauty from long range.
A long two that time for George.
Now Nash again, forcing the defense to react, driving down the left side. Shovels off the pass to Dial, swings it topside to Jones. He gets by George, a running right-hander off the mark. Cook secures the rebound for the Lakers.
Not only was it a running one-hander, it looked like he was a little off balance that time. I think he surprised his other four teammates when he took the shot.
Lakers have a rebounding edge of 15-9. George will feed it over to Odom. Right side of the lane, gives to Cook, flashing to the ball. It'll drop step by Dial. Towers over him at 6'10" and laid it in easily with the left hand. Lakers on top, 32-29. Bell comes back, drifts off a screen and drills one. I mean, ripped it from the right side. A tough angle.
When you talk about how do you keep a running team from running, well, you got to make some baskets. But Phoenix Suns, it doesn't matter whether you make or miss. You better turn around and get back on D.
Lakers by one with possession. Odom with it. 32-31 to count. 8:14 to go second quarter. Defense in 3 seconds whistled on the Phoenix Suns.
How about Lamar Odom? Because of his height differential, even though Sean Marion's a good leaper, when he's got him in the post, he's just holding Sean Marion off with the right hand, kind of flashing that ball around with the left and just throwing some hook passes there out of the post.
Timeout called on the floor with 8:14 to go. Here in the second period of play, our score, the Los Angeles Lakers 32 and the Phoenix Suns 31. The NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio, presented by Radio Shack, continue after these messages from your local station.
On ESPN Radio.
8:14 left first half. Lakers lead the Suns 30-31. Game 4 of this series. Lakers have won the last two. They've slowed the Suns the last couple of games. Steve Nash, 14 points so far this afternoon, talking about their offensive problems.
We've battled. We've done a pretty good job defensively. And we just haven't scored enough points. And, we missed a bunch of layups and just didn't make some plays when it counted, or it was a totally different game.
Nash 6 of 7 from the field so far today, but the rest of his teammates just 6 of 21. Lamar Odom has 9 points to lead the Lakers, who lead at 32-31, 8:14 to go in the half. Back to Kevin Calabro and Will Perdue.
And in Game 3, the Phoenix Suns had 5 players in double figures, but so did the Los Angeles Lakers, and that balance worked to the advantage of the Lakers. That saw Kobe hit 6 of 18 with 17 points, but he led him with the 7 assists. Now, the story here is Kobe Bryant's 3 first-half fouls with 8:14 remaining in the second period. Well, what kind of player is he on balance playing in foul trouble?
Well, he obviously didn't do too well here as he was trying to force that issue when he picked up his third foul, which was an offensive foul. But this will really test this. I mean, the thing is, I think as you saw Phil Jackson, he's now running the offense through Lamar Odom in the post, because now who out there can create their own shot? Right now, as you look at that lineup, it's Lamar Odom. So that's a guy they're going to have to run their offense through. So far, they've been productive as they lead 33-31 as Vujacic knocks down the free throw for the defensive 3 seconds. But it's going to continue to take all 5 guys to keep themselves in the game until Kobe can get back, whether it's this quarter or the start of the third.
Devin George will swing it in play to Smush Parker in front of his own bench, 12 to shoot, circles out off the screen, sends it back to Cook, who drifts outside. Dial right with him. Cook pump fakes, leans back, fires off the mark.
Good job, good defense that time by Dial. Stay down, kept his hands up. Cook had to shoot over the extended arms.
Jones with a rebound, and the Suns now to half court with 14 to shoot. Nash trying to get free of Parker and be a receiver for Dial, does. Coming out here to greet the ball at the top of the key, and then works pick and roll with Dial up top with a right-hand redirection slam dunk.
I couldn't see Dial because of the defense, and I was wondering where Steve Nash was throwing that ball, and all of a sudden Dial just comes up amongst 3 Lakers and throws it down.
Just took that pass and redirected it right through the cylinder. And the Lakers and Suns are tied at 33. Here's Cook, turns and twists, fall-away jumper, left-hand side of the lane, won't go. Nash with a rebound. Nash on the run. Nash over the top of a Marion screen, and a foul called.
And it's interesting. I don't know if you're going to see Phil Jackson call timeout or not, but he even talked about, Spush Parker as well as he's playing. He's still working with him on shot selection, and with Kobe Bryant out, our guys are going to start forcing shots. And the last 2 times down the floor, you've seen Brian Cook take some ill-advised shots. One in the post, one on the perimeter. These guys got to continue to run the offense and take open shots, not try to force the offense.
Foul called on Parker, his first, team's first. 7:18 to go, first quarter. Suns bring it in bounds. Nash center of the court, 14 to shoot. Right side to Marion, pump fakes, drives in. Kwame Brown with him, out to Jones at the opposite point for 3. Floats it up, in and out. Kwame Brown seals the rebound. The Lakers now have Vujacic along with Brown, Parker, Odom, and George on the deck. 7 minutes remaining in the second period. Vujacic in low to Brown, who had his troubles in the first quarter handling the ball. Holds it extended away from the body on the 6'8 Diao. Double team, kicks it out to George. Left side, it comes to Odom, a standstill 3, rimming with 3 to shoot, and the rebound grabbed by Raja Bell.
A lot of standing around that time with the Lakers on offense.
Nash in the front court, pins Parker on a Diao screen. Brown switches out on Nash, 15 to shoot. Diao now opens up left side, receives the ball in deep, low left, checked by Parker. Back to Nash at the point, over to Diao. Turns and twists, follow-away flip, short. Volleying the rebound was Marion. There was Odom as well. He goes to the floor, and a loose ball foul called on Marion for the contact. That's his second.
Marion a little too aggressive on that rebound that time, but where's Diao as you look at Steve Nash is actually talking to Raja Bell. I'm sorry, Raja Bell had the smaller Spush Parker on him, and he just settled for a little fadeaway jump shot in the post. Right now, Steve Nash is talking to Raja and says, hey, when you have a little guy on, you just continue to back him down and take him right to the basket. No need to fade away.
Score tied at 33. 6:22 to go here in the second period. Laker ball in half court. Walton does not have a left shoe. He's got to call a timeout. He lost his shoe just as soon as they got into front court. The shoe is waiting for him at the free throw line. And he will limp over there to the Laker bench.
Not really a bad timeout. It was unfortunate because his shoe came off, but Phil Jackson, as he's kind of laughing right now, really needed to talk to this Laker team because as we talked about it last couple times down the floor, they've had some Laker players that have taken some ill-advised shots, and they just need to continue to run the offense.
Low-scoring game. 33-all with 6:16 to go in the second period and a timeout from Los Angeles. You're listening to the NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio, presented by Radio Shack.
6:16 to go, tied at 33. Let's go back to Kevin Calabro and Will Perdue.
Thank you, Mark. The NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio are brought to you by Lamisil AT. Lamisil AT lets you treat athlete's foot between the toes 4 times faster than Tinactin and Lotrimin AF. Lamisil AT, advanced treatment. Stay tuned for the Lamisil step-up performer of the game later in the broadcast. Well, the Phoenix Suns have only turned the ball over 1 time this afternoon. They have not resigned themselves to shooting a number of three-point shots. They've only fired off 5 of them. They are 2 of 5, while the Lakers are 1 of 6 from 3. But the Suns have been able to get into the paint, Will Perdue, with some success. Steve Nash leading them with 14 points on 6 of 7 shooting right now.
And you always wonder, is that good or bad for the Phoenix Suns? That Steve Nash scoring too many points, does not get enough help from his teammates. But right now, it just seems like the Phoenix Suns are taking what the Lakers offense has given them.
Well, they've gotten the shoe back on Luke Walton, and back to play we come. Odom will bounce over to Brown, juggle the ball, comes up with it, comes across the middle, drop steps, turns, lays it up, missed it, he hurried his shot, rebound to Marion, and the Suns now on the attack. Nash with it, center of the court. He has Marion spaced out on the right, Diao and Jones on the left, and Raja Bell drop into the far corner as Diao takes it down the left side of the lane, turns the corner on Kwame Brown, and just flicked it up there with the right hand. A beautiful little teardrop on the run. Nash 7 of 8 has 16 points.
And that's the hard part for a big man like Kwame Brown. You keep expecting Steve Nash to pass, and then all of a sudden he shoots it right in front of you.
35-33, Suns by 2. Vujacic in the corner. Dribbles into the clutter, he's doubled and throws outside at the far point to Parker. Nothing doing with 4 to shoot. He's got to get off a wild running right-hander, missed it. Marion controls the rebound, and now the Phoenix Suns push it into front court. With it on the advance is Raja Bell. Gets a screen from Marion. Marion rolls receives the pass, pumped up a quick shot over the oncoming Brown and missed it. Vujacic with a rebound.
Marion just off to a slow start, only 1 for 4 from the field.
Suns by 2, 35-33. 5 minutes to go, second quarter. Up top with it, Odom between the rings. Looking on with 8 to shoot. Gets a dribble handoff from Vujacic. Does Odom. Now backs down to the ISO. Tried to step by Marion. Marion trying to draw the charge. Odom missed the shot. Rebound recovered again by the Suns. On the run is Nash. Out to Diaw. Makes Parker off his feet. Kicks to Nash. Runs baseline. Scoops to Diaw. Collides with Nash. Leans in and banks it up and in. Diaw's only problem was Nash in there, but there were several Lakers just standing and watching.
But Steve Nash, when he was in there, was also setting a screen on Lamar Odom, and that Lamar Odom could not get the Diaw to block the shot.
37-33. Suns on top by 4. 4:21 to go in the half. Vujacic with 12 to shoot. Looking inside for Odom, but they swing it with the extra pass to Parker, then go to Odom. He is double-teamed immediately. Gets rid of it to Walton. Finds Brown at the rim, and he powers in a two-hand slam.
Good passing that time. Nice little touch pass from Walton to Kwame Brown.
Suns by 2. Vujacic picks up Bell at the 8-second mark. Jabs it away. Bell recovers, feeding over to Marion. 13 to shoot. Marion out beyond the three-point arc. Waits for Nash to come to the ball. Nash behind the back off the screen. Finds Diaw left of the lane. One dribble adjustment. A 15-footer rimming. Rebound to Kwame Brown.
I'm not considering that last play where Kwame Brown got the dunk at the basket. The Lakers have been standing around quite a bit on the offensive end. Let's see what they can do here. Good ball movement last time, but you've seen a lot of times Lamar Odom going one-on-one.
Odom will toss to Brown. He'll get it back and then fires a wild air ball. Recovered by Barbosa. Suns in the front court. Nash behind the back, brings it back left to right behind the back. Nowhere to go, though. Odom covers a lot of ground, but he relaxes, and Nash gets off a three, and he missed it.
Well, Lamar Odom turned around to see who Steve Nash was going to pass it to, and while he did that, Steve Nash just decided to lift up a shot.
Brown with a rebound. Lakers on the attack. They feed a low to Kwame. He turns, steps through. Again off balance to 6'8" Diaw. A terrific defensive job. Comes down with the ball ahead to Nash. Pull up in transition. Won't go. Brown with a rebound.
I'm not so sure if the fans are yelling at the officials or yelling at Kwame Brown. He's definitely forcing the issue right now and not having much success on the offensive end.
Brown 2 for 6, and the Lakers shooting 46%. Odom double teamed on the right side by Jones and Marion. They both get a hand on the ball. Tip free to an alert Parker. Gives back to Odom into the lane. Sidesteps the defender. Laid it up. Could not coax it home, but is fouled. The foul is on Diaw, who got up under Odom in the act of shooting, and the foul on Diaw is his second.
How about the Phoenix Suns with Kobe Bryant out of the lineup? As soon as Lamar Odom is touching that ball, whether it's on the floor, mid-post, in the post, they are looking to double team to get the ball out of his hands.
With 2:35 left here in the second period from Los Angeles, California. The score, the Phoenix Suns 37, the Los Angeles Lakers 35. The NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio, presented by Radio Shack, continues after these messages from your local station.
On ESPN Radio.
2:35 to go, first half, Game 4. Phoenix Suns lead the Lakers 37-35. Earlier today here on ESPN Radio, the Bulls evened up their best of 7. 2 games apiece, a 93-87 win over Miami. Ben Gordon scored 23. We'll hear from Ben Gordon coming up at the half. Our AutoZone halftime report, plus a SportsCenter in-game. All the sports news and scores on this Sunday. Steve Nash, 16 points, 4 assists. Phoenix Suns down 2-1, lead the Lakers 37-35, 2:35 to go in the first half. Back to Kevin Calabro and Will Perdue.
Thanks, Mark. The Lakers have turned the ball over 6 times for 8 opponent points off of turnovers. The Suns have been very efficient with just 1 turnover, 7 assists on 15 field goals made. As Mark mentioned, they're led by Nash, who is 7 for 10. Nash is 2 of 3 from 3. What about Kobe Bryant, you may ask? Well, he has played just 10 minutes here in the first half, has 3 fouls, 4 of 4 from the field, 8 points for Kobe Bryant. Nonetheless, the Lakers down 2, 37-35.
Those last 2:35 of this quarter, let's see if Phil Jackson elects to bring Kobe Bryant back. He's got to be pretty happy with how things are going, because with Kobe out of the game the last 8.5 minutes, it's only a 2-point deficit. And you would think that the Suns, without Kobe Bryant, would be able to extend their lead, but just unable to do so.
Well, no one else has really been able to get a rolling, though, have they? Marion, as you mentioned, 1 of 4. Jones 1 of 4 in the start. Tim Thomas, while he looks okay physically, in 6 minutes is 1 for 2.
Barbosa coming off the bench, only 1 of 5, as he is sitting down with 3 fouls. But possibly, the way things are going, Lamar Odom knocks down these 2 free throws, and it's a tie ball game.
Odom out of Rhode Island flicks this one up and off the mark. We mentioned the sparkling numbers he's amassed in the last 3 games, 19 points, nearly 13 rebounds. Here's the second by Odom, and he got that one. So the Suns come up the floor leading 37-36. Nash in control, 2:30 left in the first half. Sideline left to Bell, feeds it, baseline left to Diaw. Double teamed, he throws out of it to Bell at the top of the key. Right side of it to Nash, works on a screen for Marion. Marion pops, gets the ball, sends to Thomas in the corner. Hard dribble, pull up, no. Rebound flicked by Marion into the hands of Kwame Brown.
Well, that time the Lakers doing a good job of running Tim Thomas off that 3-point line.
Brown with 6 recoveries. Lakers in a half court. Parker will feed topside to Odom, get it back. Parker drifts to the right of the key with 10 to shoot. He'll pop and miss straight away. Rebound grabbed by Marion. Nash will take it. Spinning by Vujacic, drifting into the corner where Parker collects him. Nash maintains the dribble. Rarely will he terminate that dribble. Outside it comes to Diaw. Inside to Marion. Tried to lead him to the cup, and he tried to redirect it with 2 hands. They're going to call a brush foul inside on Smush Parker, who just did get Marion as he went flying by him.
Are they saying he got him? Or are they saying he tried to grab him from behind because he realized what they're saying there? I think they're saying that Smush pushed him from behind.
So it sends Sean Marion to the free throw line. And the free throw for Marion is up and in. This season, Marion shot 52% from the field, 80% from the line on his way to a sparkling regular season of 21.8, 11.8 rebounds. It was at nearly 2 steals and a block and a half per ball game, playing 40 minutes in 81 of a possible 82. A terrific regular season. He has given the Suns a 3-point lead, but Vujacic can tie it, and he does. Vujacic, who hit 2 big threes in Game 3, drills it, and we're tied at 39. Now Bell with it. Dribble handoff, right point to Diaw. Snakes a pass left side to Marion. Maneuvers into the paint. Kicks out of the clutter on the right point to Bell with 11 to shoot. Up top, ahead of the key to Diaw. Backs, rocks, turns, steps through 2 defenders and laid it in.
Just ask Kevin, you watch the Phoenix Suns, I mean, a lot of guys are being aggressive on offense, but it seems like one of them that's not. When he gets the ball on the perimeter is Sean Marion.
Diaw made a sparkling move there. 4 of 8, 8 points for Diaw. And the Suns by 2. Vujacic drives into the lane with a hard left hand, switch to the right, had a block, but a foul.
They're calling that on Tim Thomas. Thomas started to step in, looked like he was going to take the charge. Then he stepped out of the way and just took a swipe at the ball, sending Vujacic to the line for 2.
Big shot Sasha, they were calling him in the newspapers this morning in the LA Times.
I bet you he cut that out for a scrapbook.
I think a reference to big shot Bob Horry. Vujacic shot up and in. 41-41 count, 55 seconds left in the second period. As Vujacic scores the last 5 for the Lakers. Nash in the front court. Circling, top side, lobs it toward the cup. Diaw will drift up under it, double team, finds Marion wide open for 3 out of the corner. No. Rebound goes over the glass to the baseline. Thomas on tiptoes tried to tight wire it. Odom is there to deflect it out of bounds. It will be Phoenix ball.
And there's Marion, 1 for 5. And look at this Lakers team. The only starter for the Los Angeles Lakers to score in the second quarter is Lamar Odom. Otherwise, we've had Kobe Bryant on the bench since the 11-minute mark. And everybody else for the Lakers has stepped up. It's tied with 37 seconds to go here in the second quarter.
We'd like to extend a special welcome to our U.S. servicemen and women stationed around the world and on ships at sea listening to our broadcast on the American Forces Radio Network. Along with Will Perdue, Kevin Calabro at the Staples Center in Los Angeles, California. This is Game 4 of the series between the Phoenix Suns and the Lakers, with the Lakers leading 2-1. Game 5 will be Tuesday in Phoenix. And Game 6 Thursday. And Game 7, if they need one, will be Saturday. Of course, they will alternate. And the Los Angeles Times this morning quoted Kwame Brown as saying, "I thought they were desperate, but Phil told us that we were the desperate ones, and so we're coming out with a critical need to win this game." He's planted that seed with his young players anyway.
Well, he has, because if the Phoenix Suns win today, it's just back to home court advantage. It's the best 2 out of 3, and Phoenix Suns has 2 of those games at home.
And of course, everyone here in LA already making plans for a Lakers-Clippers second-round series. Well, the Suns relinquished the basketball on the inbounds, an illegal screen set. And so the Lakers will take it back on the foul to Dial. That is his 3rd personal foul.
And Phil Jackson uses his 20-second timeout here with 35.7 seconds to go. When you look at an 11-second differential on the shot clock, just out of curiosity, is he drawing up a play to try to go 2 for 1? So when the Phoenix Suns get the ball back, you know they're not going to use all 24 seconds of the shot clock, or is he drawing up something to take some time off the clock and just get a good shot, which they consider to be their last shot of the quarter?
The NBA playoffs are on ESPN Radio. 41-41 count, 35 and 7/10 seconds left here in this first half. Kobe Bryant, because of foul problems, 3 fouls, picked up his 3rd at about the 11-minute mark here of the second period. 4 for 4 with 8 points. The Lakers led by Lamar Odom with 10. The Phoenix Suns led by Steve Nash with 16 on 7 for 10 shooting. But the rest of the team, 9 of 30 shooting the basketball here in the first half from L.A.
And we talked about it. Looks like they've missed out on a golden opportunity, because Kobe Bryant, when this is all said and done, is only going to play 1 minute in the second quarter. And right now, we felt like we're tied, and the Phoenix Suns could possibly be down headed into halftime.
After the timeout, the Lakers bring it in bounds in backcourt. Smush Parker will rush up the floor. Backpedaling is Nash. Parker will pull up the 3 straight away off the front rim. And right there's Raja Bell to collect it. So the Lakers play 2 for 1 here. 4-second differential between shot clock and game clock. Nash with it across midcourt. Forced by Parker to his right. Nash will pull up once the use of clock. 9 to shoot. Waits for Thomas to screen off the pick. Drives in on Kwame Brown. Kicks to Jones. Sidesteps Walton. Hands to Nash. 3 to shoot. 2 to shoot. Gets it off. It's an air ball. And the Lakers will take it on the turnover to the Suns. Just their 3rd here of the first half. With a chance for the Lakers now, to take the lead.
That's very uncharacteristic. That's kind of been what you've seen in this series. The Phoenix Suns have just been out of sorts, and I'm not so much sure if it's the Lakers' defense, but they just have struggled to shoot the ball from the perimeter, and that time not getting up a good shot. And as you talked about, Steve Nash just had to throw that thing up.
Kobe Bryant is back in with 4 and 7/10 seconds remaining in the first half, and the score tied at 41-41.
Risky move here by Phil Jackson.
Odom will bring it in bounds to Kobe. Double team, turns by 2 double teams, pump fakes, got off the shot, block, got it back, sends it up in the buzzer, and it won't go.
How about Kobe? Looks like a good block shot, and he's looking around looking at the officials. I think, was it Sean Marion from the backside? So we get the pleasure of seeing the rebound. Jermaine Jones from the backside, Sean Marion from the front side. Looked like all ball. Good no call by the officials.
At the half here in Los Angeles, we're tied at 41-41. Today's game is brought to you by OnStar Vehicle Diagnostics, a new service that runs diagnostic reports of your vehicle every month and emails you the results. Sign up today at OnStar.com. Mark Kestisher is standing by with the AutoZone halftime report. At the end of the first half, our score: the Phoenix Suns 41, the Los Angeles Lakers 41. You're listening to the NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio, presented by Radio Shack.
Mark Kestisher with the AutoZone halftime report. Get in the zone. AutoZone, the high-flying Phoenix Suns have been grounded again. Just 41 points in the first half, but Kobe Bryant saddled with foul problems. The Lakers and Suns tied at 41 at halftime in Game 4 of that series. Coming up on our AutoZone halftime report, we'll check out the Sunday in NBA playoff basketball, hockey playoffs, Sunday baseball, all coming up in SportsCenter in-game, and that's next. You're listening to the NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio.
The AutoZone halftime report. I'm Mark Kestisher, and at the half, Phoenix and the Los Angeles Lakers tied at 41 in Game 4 of that Western Conference first-round series. LA leading 2-1. More of our game coming up in just a bit. In case you missed the first game of our doubleheader, it was the Heat and the Bulls, and Chicago built a 13-point lead late in the third quarter. They saw that lead disappear on Derek Anderson's three-pointer with 2.5 minutes to go. Miami led 83-82, but the Bulls weren't finished.
At the top of the key, now down the lane. A pitch out into the right corner to Duhan. 7 to shoot. Here's Heinrich out front. A long three. Oh, Kurt Heinrich sticks a cold-blooded three, and the Bulls go up by 5.
Jim Durham, the call here on ESPN Radio. That three-pointer with 1:09 left. Heinrich finished with 21. The Bulls even the best of 7 at 2 games apiece. 93-87 over Miami. Ben Gordon led the Bulls with 23 points. And after the game, sat down with our Jim Durham and Dr. Jack Ramsey.
Ben Gordon, with you guys winning this key game today, I don't see a lot of emotion in you young players. It's almost like you're just, taking it all in stride. That's unbelievable for a group as young as yours.
Well, we have a lot of guys who throughout their career, especially in college, have played in big-time games. And with the playoff experience we had last year, we're able to be a little bit more calm and poised out there.
Ben, the game plan against Miami defensively, put pressure on players at the perimeter, try to prevent Wade from getting free access to the basket, flood in on Shaq. I thought it was terrific defense, almost wire to wire.
Yeah, I did too. We did a really good job of executing, tonight's game plan. And, that's hard to do, when you're playing the team so many times. Guys are making constant adjustments, but, we did a really good job of that.
Dwayne Wade, 8 out of 23. You can't do much better than that against such a talent.
Yeah, Kirk did a really good job on him. And the help defenders tonight did a really good job of him. Roy just clogging it up and making him take difficult and contested shots.
Ben, what happens now as you get ready for Game 5? What will you be looking to do in Miami that you didn't do the first 2 games there?
Just continue to play better defense. I thought, those 2 games out there, we allowed them 60-plus points at halftime, and that's what really killed us. Even when we were making our comeback, they just had such a big cushion.
All right, Ben, thanks a lot. We appreciate your time. Thanks for stopping by. All the best to you and the Bulls going to Miami. 93-87 is the final. The Bulls tie the series with Miami Heat at 2. Now let's go back to the studio. Here's Mark Kestisher.
All right, JD, so Chicago wins it 93-87. Ben Gordon, our performer of the game, brought to you by Lamisil AT. Lamisil AT lets you treat athlete's foot between the toes 4 times faster than Tinactin and Lotrimin AF. Lamisil AT, advanced treatment. Still to come today in NBA playoff hoops. Cleveland at Washington. Cavaliers lead 2-1. And San Antonio at Sacramento. Spurs up 2-1. Playoff hockey. Buffalo just finished off the Flyers 3-0 to go up 3-2. Colorado and Dallas headed to overtime, tied at 2. Avalanche lead that series 3-1. From baseball, Atlanta avoids a sweep, beating the Mets 8-5 as Jeff Francoeur drives in 5 runs. Tampa Bay over Boston 5-4. The Yankees defeat Toronto 4-1. And don't forget Sunday night baseball on most of these same ESPN radio stations. The Rangers and the Indians. Texas at Cleveland, 7:35 Eastern Time. At the half, Phoenix leads the Lakers Phoenix and the Lakers are tied at 41. Lakers lead the series 2-1. Our second half call is coming up. This is the AutoZone halftime report, and the NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio continue after these messages from your local station. Lakers lead the Suns 2-1 in their first-round series. They're tied at the half in Game 4, 41-all. The second half is next. You're listening to the NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio.
I'm I'm Jim Durham with this clutch delivery brought to you by the U.S. Postal Service and USPS.com/smart business. While the Dallas Mavericks are still seeking their first NBA title, their coach would be the first to tell them it's not always the superstars who get it done. Avery Johnson was the point guard for the Spurs when they reached the NBA Finals in 1999 with David Robinson, Tim Duncan, and Sean Elliott. But in Game 5 against the Knicks, it was Johnson who became Mr. Big Shot, hitting a corner jumper in the final minute to lock up San Antonio's first title.
This is the NBA on ESPN Radio.
Time for Inside the Numbers, brought to you by Baskin-Robbins. For a refreshing pick-me-up, try Cappuccino Blast from Baskin-Robbins, available in 3 new flavors. Steve Nash, 16 points on 7 of 11 shooting. The rest of the club, just 9 of 30. Lamar Odom leads the Lakers with 10 points. Kobe Bryant just 8 with 3 fouls early. And Smush Parker, who led them in scoring in Game 3, hasn't scored a point. We're tied at half. Phoenix 41 and the Lakers 41 for the second half call. Let's return to Staples Center in L.A. Here's Kevin Calabro and Will Purdue.
All right, Mark, thank you. We're sitting here looking at the second quarter box score, and it is ugly. The Phoenix Suns were 6 of 20, 30%. The Lakers in the second quarter, 5 of 19, 26%. And get this, Kobe played 57 seconds of the second period, was 0 for 2, and did not score. In fact, the leading scorer in the second quarter for the Lakers, and he played all 12 minutes, was Sasha Vujacic, who had 6 points. The Suns in the second period were led by the 6 points of Boris Diaw, who played nearly 11 and a half minutes of the second period of play. I just can't make heads or tails of this, to be honest with you. Well, I don't know what to think about that first half. Maybe the coaches are thinking the same thing. The one thing we do know is clean slate. It's 0-0 here at half, essentially.
It really is, and I think this gives the advantage to the Lakers right now because not only is Kobe Bryant rested, but as you pointed out, only played 57 seconds of that second quarter, and at the end of the first quarter, the Phoenix Suns were up by 1, so they actually got outscored by 1 point in that second quarter, 16-15. Both teams, neither one of them really played that well, but that was a golden opportunity for Phoenix to try to gain some momentum and extend that 1-point lead, possibly make it into double figures, but they were unable to do so with Kobe Bryant on the bench. So what happens here in this first 5 minutes of the third quarter?
Well, you talked about points in the paint and the ability of the Suns to get into the paint. They outscored the Lakers 24-20 in the first half. Now, they didn't shoot a lot of threes either, Will. They were 2 of 8 from three-point range, and so were the Lakers. So does that mean the Suns now set up the Lakers, so to speak, for the drive and now can shoot the perimeter shot?
Well, you hope so, but the problem is they're just not knocking down the open jumpers. I think if we were at one point when the Phoenix Suns were 15 of 27 late in that second quarter, they were 10 of those field goals were at the rim. So I think they'll continue to go at the rim. We talked about in the second quarter, how do you get Kobe to possibly go at Kobe to pick up his 4th foul, go at Lamar Odom to pick up his 3rd foul, but still stay within your offense. Don't try to concentrate too much on trying to get those guys in foul trouble. Get yourself out of your rhythm and your flow.
We're underway here in the third quarter. Well, we were for 7 seconds anyway. Foul called immediately, and who's this going to be on? Well, the Lakers Smush Parker, it appears, flipped Nash, cutting through.
And it's also, this pressure is now on the Lakers, because as you've seen in the last 2 games, there have been some altercations between the Lakers and the Phoenix Suns.
Suns have it on the inbounds now with 11 to shoot. Up top, Diaw, the lob at the cup. Marion soars in for a 2-hand smash.
Well, same basket, but different result. We saw the same exact play run for the Lakers right off the jump ball. The Phoenix Suns come out, started the second half and run a lob.
The body language for the Lakers here to open the bell in the third quarter is not good.
They just look confused, don't they?
They did on that play as both Parker and Odom just stood there and didn't immediately grab the ball and head down the floor. Now Bryant out of a double team to Parker for 3, in and out. Brown sheds Diaw, but Diaw got around him, swimming his arms, and deflects the rebound free to Raja Bell. Suns in the half court. Bell exchanges passes with Nash, 16 to shoot. Nash will take it on the weave up top, down the left side of the lane. Pulls up a hard banker up and in. Parker bit on that little step to the end line.
Is there anybody in the league that's better than knocking down them little running one-hander?
Nash, 8 for 12, 18 points. And the Suns open up with the first 2 buckets of the third. They have come prepared and ready to play. 45-41. Parker off balance in a collision with Nash. Missed the runner. Rebound to Boris Diaw.
I think that might classify as one of those shots that Phil Jackson would probably recommend that Smush Parker not take.
Diaw hands to Bell. Screens for Bell. Bell gets off a deep 2 over Kwame Brown and drilled it. The Suns come out and outscore the Lakers 6-love and take a 6-point lead, equaling their largest lead held in the first half.
Well, it's like Kobe Bryant's calling a play, pounding his chest. I'm not sure if he's calling a play for himself or that's just a play within the system for the Lakers.
Well, he's doubled by Diaw and Bell and then promptly throws it by Kwame Brown and out of bounds. Another Laker turnover, their 7th of the game.
Well, I'm not sure what Kwame Brown was looking at because he was wide open on the roll of the basket. He stopped mid-post like he was going to get the pass and shoot a little jump shot off the backboard.
2 minutes gone by in the third quarter, and the Suns have come out on the 6-0 run. Raja Bell trying to step by Bryant at the top of the key, had it jabbed away by Bryant from behind, out of bounds, Phoenix ball.
But right now, you look at the Lakers, they're all talking to each other, putting their palms up in the air like they're confused on what they're doing on the defensive end.
Suns get it to bounds, 11 to shoot. Nash dances down the left side, laid it up, and it's tipped away. A block by Odom, who flicks it outside to Walton, and now the Lakers on the attack. Kobe Bryant backpedaling down the left side of the lane. Gets some real estate in deep. Double team, steps between defenders, flicks up a hard banker, missed it. Kwame Brown the rebound. Turns in the lane, went up, and had it hacked away.
No matter what kind of game you're playing, and we talk about Kwame Brown not playing too well today, because you go back and you look at his stats, he's 4 points, 6 rebounds, 2 turnovers, but he's been averaging, almost double figures when you look at what he's been averaging in the playoffs, 13.6 rebounds, but that right there, that's just an effort play. If you're not playing that well, you can still play defense, you can still crash the boards, try to pick up some easy points.
Bell picks up the foul. That is his second. And Kwame Brown misses the first free throw. The Lakers at the line are 7 for 11. While the Suns are a perfect 7 for 7. Well, the way this thing is going right now, the free throw advantage could go to the winner. Kwame Brown hits the second free throw. 47-42 to count.
Talking about free throw advantage, how about this Phoenix Suns team shooting 91% in this series?
That was a problem in Game 1 when they won. The Lakers fouled him, sent him to the line repeatedly. Here's Diaw outside from Nash. Tees up a deep 2 at the far angle, missed it. Rebound to Kobe Bryant. Up the floor he comes. Jab steps into the lane, turns away from a double team, picks up the dribble, and he walked with the basketball. Good call.
How many times have you even seen, it looks like Kobe Bryant's out of sync right now.
Yeah.
We talked to Phil Jackson about how he's done a good job of convincing Kobe to let your teammates play their game, but in order to keep him in the game, they've let him handle the ball and bring it up the floor so he feels like he's part of the flow. But right now it looks like he's even trying to force things on the offensive end.
Nash on a pick and pop gives to Marion. He drives in deep, backpedaling, but throws outside of Nash now. Marion will screen, will fade. Nash one-on-one and Odom beneath the rim. Nice pass. Slipped it out of the holster to Diaw at the rim. He laid it in. Nash had his back to the target, and with a backhand flick, a deft snap of the wrist, found Diaw at the cup. What a play.
I think that's the true definition of eyes in the back of your head.
Suns on top, 49-42, 8:41 to go third quarter. Bryant on the right side double, drops it low to Walton. Turnaround twister, got it.
Luke Walton becoming the Lakers' go-to guy?
It seems so. He's 3 for 4, has 6 points. 8:26 to go, third quarter. The Suns on top by 5. Nash takes Vujacic on a screen, drives into the lane, knifes by Walton, but couldn't finish at the cup. Brown with a rebound.
Look at Steve Nash following the official all the way down the floor, taking himself out of the play defensively.
Kobe on the wing right side, detained by Bell, feeds low to Brown, turns, drop steps, hooks, and scores. Kwame Brown had his rhythm on that one and took his time. Nash on the fly, drives into the lane between defenders, hands again to Diaw, his favorite target, and again he's right at the rim, laid it in.
And Steve Nash still running down the floor, looking at the officials. Now he's talking with Bennett Salvatore, the head official of this crew.
Nash with 6 assists and 18 points. Kobe backpedals right side, double outside to Vujacic. He drills a 3, knocked down by Jones after the play. The crowd wanted a foul, they won't get it. Now the Suns come the other way. Jones in front court, right side, one-on-one and Walton. 7:34 to go, third quarter. 51-49 Suns. Nash will take it from Jones into the corner, doubled out to James Jones for three. Bingo! With 12 on the shot clock. James Jones puts a charge out on the floor, and the Suns lead by 5.
And this pace favors the Phoenix Suns. This is what they've been trying to do from the get-go.
Here's Bryant, doubled on the right side to Walton. Hands off to Brown. He took it strong to the cup, but is fouled from behind, and Jones shoved him. Kwame will shoot 2.
Well, good foul by Jones. Kwame was wide open, headed to the basket, but he brought that thing down, allowed Jones to get a hand on it, called a foul by the officials, and he only went 1 for 2 from the free throw line the previous time. Well, I tell you what, you look at Mike D'Antoni, him and Bennett Salvatore having a little heated conversation right now. And now all of a sudden they're doing that right in front of Jack Nickel, and Jack stands up like, excuse me, do you guys need an official here?
He's got his ear cocked over there to take in this conversation. Right in front of us.
Wasn't there a game last year at some point that Jack actually looked like he was going to accost one of the officials with his program? Didn't it look like didn't he follow one of the officials down the sideline?
A moment ago when Vujacic went down after hitting the 3, Jack was out on the floor, wanted a call. 7:13 to go here in the third. Brown hits the first, missed the second. Marion the rebound. 54-50. Suns on top by 4.
I think if he stepped out on the floor and there was accidental contact with the official, that they'd actually kick him out.
I'm not touching that one. That's at the commissioner's level. Here's Jones for 3. Missed it right side. Rebounded Diaw in the paint. Throws outside to Nash at the far point. Bounces over to Diaw. Backing down on Vujacic. Cross-court hook pass. Jones all alone on the swing. Missed it. Rebound to Marion. Pulls it free from Brown. Gives to Nash left side. Working the point. Nash stops, picks up the dribble, swings it outside to Diaw. Nash will get new dribble, 16 to shoot. Off the Diaw screen. Behind the back to Diaw, hesitates, one dribble, spins, kicks it back to Marion. He'll drive, pull up, lean in and out. Rebound taken by Walton.
Boy, Marion just struggling and cannot buy a basket today.
54-50. Suns on top, even with Marion, 2 for 7. And the Suns shooting 41%. They double-team Kobe. Get it out of his hands. Send it to Brown. He back swirls. Too strong off the back rim. Rebound again to Boris Diaw. Diaw's been magnificent. 12 points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds. But that time, some miscommunication between Diaw and Nash in backcourt. The outlet gets out of bounds. And a foul. No. The ball given to the Lakers out of bounds. Phoenix Suns.
And I think that's the true definition of sometimes even a blind squirrel can find a nut. That time, Kwame Brown slow getting back. He wasn't even paying attention, but because he was running right in front of Steve Nash did not see the pass coming, and it goes out of bounds.
Timeout called on the floor. 6:07 left here in the third period from Los Angeles, California. Our score, the Phoenix Suns 54, the Los Angeles Lakers 50. The NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio, presented by Radio Shack, continues after these messages from your local station.
On ESPN Radio.
Mark Kestisher in the studio. Phoenix leading the Lakers 54-50, 6:07 to go in the third. Earlier today, the Bulls evened its series with Miami winning 93-87. Later, Cleveland at Washington and the Spurs at Sacramento. Tomorrow, the Clippers can finish off Denver. LA up 3-1. Elton Brand of the Clippers awarded the Joe Dumars Trophy today for the player who exemplifies the ideals of sportsmanship. On the other end of the spectrum, the Nuggets made official today. Forward Kenyon Martin's suspension would last through the remainder of this first-round series, suspended indefinitely last week after getting into an argument with head coach George Karl. Steve Nash, 18 points, 7 assists. Suns 54, the Lakers 50 with 6:07 to go in the third. Back to Kevin Calabro and Will Purdue.
All right, Mark, thank you. George Karl's going to have to do a heck of a coaching job to get Denver up for the next game. No question now that Martin has been suspended for the series. That seems to have dragged Denver down, and the Clippers have done a marvelous job. Of course, everyone here in Los Angeles was talking about a possible Laker-Clippers second-round series. For the record, the Lakers and Clippers in the season were tied at 2-2. Phoenix and the Clippers, their series during the regular season, 2-2 as well.
We've got to give the Clippers credit. I mean, they've gone in and they've taken care of business.
Yes.
With or without Kenyon Martin, they've stepped up and they've done what they've had to do, and there's a good possibility for them to sweep that series and then get some serious rest, because this series right here, who knows, could go to 7 games.
Good. 6:07 to go in the third quarter. Lakers swinging in play, trailing by 4, 54-50. Walton with it, top of the key. Left point here to Odom, bouncing over to Kobe Bryant, 16 to shoot. Throws cross court, laser to pass by Walton, grazed his hands and went out of bounds. Another Laker turnover. Their 9th of the ball game.
How odd. I mean, the Phoenix Suns don't even look to double Kobe Bryant. He just immediately picks up his dribble and looks to fire out a pass. Never even made a move in the post that time.
Third turnover on the Lakers in the quarter. 5:46 to go, third period. Diaw backing down, double team. Throws outside the bell, a deep three. Rimming, rebound corralled by Walton. Suns come the other way with a 4-point magnet. The Lakers come the other way, facing a 4-point deficit, 54-50. Kobe at the far point. Feeds it to Vujic. Great entry pass to Brown, and took it up. But this smash goes off the back rim. He is fouled by James Jones in the act, and Kwame will be forced to shoot two. Good foul applied by Jones.
Good foul. And a lot of times you see that with big guys, Kevin. They get that ball like that, and they look to try to wind up and dunk it. And that gives the defense time to catch up and commit the foul. If he just takes that thing up quick and throw it down and not worry so much about style points, I think they got 2 points and the free throw.
Kwame Brown from Glenn Academy High School in Brunswick, Georgia, 6'11" and 270 pounds, and in the series averaging 13 points and 6 rebounds coming in. Hits the free throw. Here's the second. Rolling around and in. Crowd chanting Kwame.
Well, they're going to need him if they plan on winning this game today.
Suns by 2 with possession. Nash coming off the screen from Tim Thomas. He will pull up from 15 feet. This pass rolls around and out. Walton collects the rebound, his 6th of the game. The Lakers have a slim rebound advantage of 4. Here's Bryant sidewinding into the lane, spins by traffic, goes up and over the clutter, and flips it in with 10 feet between he and the rim. Kobe Bryant scoring 10 points on 5 of 8 this afternoon. We're tied at 54. Barbosa with it. One-on-one on Brown, crosses over, and actually turned the ball over, says Kenny Mount.
What do they call it?
He carried? Yeah, they say he carried it.
How often do you see that called in the NBA?
Well, rarely.
Even though you see it all the time, how often do you see it? I thought they had actually called a foul on Kwame Brown when he poked it away.
54-54 count, 4:46 to go, third quarter. Lakers on the attack now. Bryant. Checked by Bell outside the three-point arc. Bryant in that triple threat position in low. Comes off the screen, hooks to Brown, trailing on the play, and jams it with 2 hands. Nice pass from Bryant.
And we talked to Phil Jackson prior to the game, and he talked about that's why he likes to put Kobe Bryant in the screen role, because he attracts the attention of all the defenders. That time, Kwame Brown just slowly works himself down the lane, and Kobe finds him for the dunk.
5 assists for Kwame, or for Kobe, I should say. Driving into the lane now is Nash, and he's forced deep beneath the rim. Bennett Salvatore's got a call.
Well, I tell you what, Steve Nash has been on edge in this series, hasn't he? When Bennett Salvatore made the call and then said that Steve Nash was throwing a pass, Steve Nash went right after Bennett Salvatore.
Foul's going to be called on Kwame Brown.
And now the officials get together and decide that Kwame was shooting, and you got Phil Jackson in one official's ear. You got Kobe Bryant in another official's ear. You got the fans on the officials.
Second team foul on the Lakers. Nash misses the free throw. Kobe Bryant is still over there talking to Sean Corbin about the difference between a pass and a shot. Nash just trying to get something toward the rim. Is fouled by Brown and splits a pair of free throws, and the Suns now trail the Lakers 56-55.
Well, I would definitely say there's a gray area between Steve Nash, but if there's one person that knows the difference between a pass and a shot, it would be Kobe Bryant.
Sideline left with it is Odom, and immediately a whistle. Walton came over there trying to set a screen. The foul's called off the ball.
And this is where we had talked about starting this third quarter. The officials are going to start getting involved because of the intensity of this game has really picked up here in this third quarter.
Foul on Raja Bell. On the Suns, the 4th team foul with 4 minutes to go in the third quarter. Bryant double team, gives to Walton, who screens and rolls out. Walton will find Odom in the paint. Down the right side it comes, reverses double. Outside to Brown. A shot blocked from behind by Bell. Directed into the hands of Thomas to Nash. Lead pass to Barbosa, leaking down the floor. He rolls one in on a reverse beauty off glass, up and in.
How about he started on the left-hand side with the left hand, saw Kobe Bryant, went up underneath, switched it over to the right hand, put enough spin on it. That thing rolls in for two.
Nash with his 7th assist, and the Suns lead at 57-56. Bell and Bryant spill to the floor, and a whistle call. And a foul. It's on Raja Bell, who picked up a foul just a moment ago. That is the 4th foul on Bell. It puts the Suns over the limit and puts the Lakers' Kobe Bryant at the line with a chance to take the lead.
And then this Raja Bell and Kobe Bryant have a little history. We were talking to Phil Jackson about how Raja Bell gives Kobe some fits because of the physical nature of his game. And 3 out of the 4 games in the regular season, Kobe Bryant had a technical arguing with the officials because of the way he was being guarded by Raja Bell. And I think the only reason he didn't have a technical in that 4th game because I think that was the game that Steve Nash and Raja Bell did not dress out.
Kobe hits the 2nd free throw. A mid-chance of MVP here at the Staples Center. Kobe has given the Lakers the lead with 12 points, 58-57. Nash with control, 3:22 remaining in the 3rd. Lobs it low on the post to Thomas. He eludes one defender and laid it in before Odom could get there with the left hand. It was Thomas who fended off Kobe Bryant on the post-up.
They just threw that over the top, and Kobe had no help on the backside. If you're going to front a guy, you got to be positive that you're going to have help on the backside, and that time he had none.
Suns by 1. Bryant throws across the arc over to Vujacic in the corner for 3. Missed it.
3-on-2.
Nash with Marion on his left, Bell on the right. 2 men to beat, drives into the lane, sneaks by Vujacic. The runner hangs on the front rim, rolls off to Kwame Brown, and the Lakers now in business with a chance to take the lead back.
What do you think Steve Nash was saying to Kim Maurer as he was going down the floor?
2:42 to go, 3rd quarter. Walton with it outside the 3-point perimeter, 10 to shoot. Feeds it high post right to Odom, puts a dribble on the deck, attacks the body of Marion, and a foul's going to be called on Phoenix. And it will put Odom at the free throw line for 2 when we come back after the timeout.
How about Kenny Maurer? As soon as that foul was called, Bennett Salvatore went over to call the foul because I would say to classify, considering how this game is going, that's a touch foul. Kenny Maurer went over and had a few words with Steve Nash as Steve Nash was headed to the bench.
2:34 left here in this 3rd quarter with a timeout, and the Suns leading 59-58 here in Los Angeles. You're listening to the NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio, presented by Radio Shack.
ESPN Radio.
Mark Hestus here in the studio. 2:34 to go, 3rd quarter. Suns lead the Lakers 59-58. A reminder coming up on most of these same ESPN radio stations, the Rangers and Indians Sunday Night Baseball from Jacobs Field in Cleveland. Dan Schulman and Dave Campbell will have the call. Our coverage will begin at 7:35 Eastern Time. Joe D'Ambrosio and the Baseball Tonight pregame show. Earlier today, as heard here on ESPN Radio, the Bulls beat Miami 93-87. Late in that game, Tyson Chandler, the Bulls center, went down with a sprained ankle late in the game. A team spokesman says Chandler has a mild to moderate sprain. He'll have x-rays. His availability for Game 5 Tuesday at this point, uncertain. Suns by 1, back to L.A. Kevin Calabro and Will Perdue.
All right, Mark, thank you. The Phoenix Suns, Steve Nash, 19 points, 8 assists, but they now have Diaw up to 12 points, while the Lakers have 3 players in double figures, Brown and Bryant with a dozen, Odom with 10. The foul situation, well, Marion 3, Diaw 3, Bell with 4, and Barbosa with 3, while the Lakers have done a pretty fair job to stay out of foul trouble after picking up some early ones. Parker with 3, Bryant 3, and no one else in foul trouble.
Yeah, that's been key here. We talked about the ability of the Suns to possibly go at Kobe Bryant, but they have not been able to get him out of the game with his 4th foul, nor have they gotten Lamar Odom to pick up his 3rd foul.
Lamar Odom will step to the free throw line, where the Lakers have an advantage here. They are 13 of 18, while the Phoenix Suns are 8 of 9. Odom drills the first free throw. Well, is this game going according to script or no?
I can't say that there's a script out here that would have predicted this game.
Tied at 41 at half. Kobe Bryant played, 10 minutes in the first half. Played 57 seconds in the second quarter. Odom gets both free throws, and the Lakers take the lead back at 60 to 59. 2:28 to go, third quarter. Diaw set out high on the left, one-on-one and Odom, 14 to shoot. Makes his move, left to right into the lane, kick out to Thomas for three. Around and out, rebound corralled by Odom.
Boy, the angle we were at, it looked like it was a little bit to the right. I thought that once that thing spun around, it was going to spin back in.
Suns are 3 of 11 outside the arc. Here's Kobe with it. High post, right side, turns on a screen from Odom. Odom leans to the cup on the exchange and laid it in with the left hand. And the Lakers take a 3-point lead. Diaw angles a pass toward Marion at the rim. He was undercut by Parker. It's a good call. The crowd doesn't think so, but Bennett Salvatore on the baseline saw Parker move into Marion. That's the fourth foul on Smush. And it is the third team foul on the Lakers. Marion in the act of redirecting the lob. Will not be shooting shots here. Instead, the Suns will bring it in bounds with Eddie House, the trigger man.
On a lob like that, unless you actually make the shot, you always take the ball on the side, unless, of course, you go over the limit.
And it wasn't in control either. Here's House on the inbounds to Diaw. Quick steps into the lane. Oh, no. Kenny Maurer says blocking foul. Everyone in the building thought it was a walk. Bennett Salvatore did too. He comes over to confer with Kenny Maurer. We've seen a lot of officials' conferences this afternoon, and Maurer will defer to Salvatore. It's a walk.
I think that Bennett was trying to prevent a riot here in the Staples Center. Hey, look at Jack. He was so upset his hair's messed up.
He had to restrain himself. Lakers 62 and the Suns 59. A minute 52 to go in the third quarter. Here come the Lakers. Playoff basketball. Nothing like it. Odom feeds to Bryant. Mid-block left. Backs down to Barbosa. Marion comes to double. He terminates the dribble. He needs help. He turns. Cross court to Sasha with 9 to shoot. Into the lane. Back to Bryant left side. And a whistle. 3 seconds in the lane. Whistle on the Lakers. They've turned it over again.
And the whole time on this offensive possession for the Lakers, head coach Mike D'Antoni of the Phoenix Suns was yelling, foul before the walk. Foul before the walk. And there's no such thing as a makeup call in the NBA, is there, Kevin?
No. Well, one of the sponsors should be Maybelline. Here's Marion outside for the long hoist. He got it. A deep two for Marion is up and in. 62-61. Lakers by 1 with 1:18 to go in the third quarter.
You've been waiting all year to say that?
It's an old Marcus Johnson line. Credit where credit is due. Here's Bryant, right side of the lane. Faces up on Barbosa. One dribble on the deck. Turns, leans in, and a foul. Barbosa was hanging all over Bryant. And the foul called on Leandro will be his fourth, Will.
Well, I tell you, that's where I disagree with you, because I think Kobe Bryant was the one initiating all the contact there, and it looked like Barbosa would just kept giving up ground. And we've talked about at times it looks like Kobe has even tried to force some shots within the offense today.
Crowd chanting MVP. Well, he was a scoring leader in the NBA for the first time in his career. They'll go to the line for the third and fourth opportunities of the afternoon, but this one, the first one, ricochets in and out.
I mean, look at this. Look at his line. 5 of 8, 2 of 3 from the free throw line, 4 rebounds. This is a big one here. 6 assists. All of 12 points with 1 minute and 5 seconds to go in the third quarter.
Bryant missed the second free throw. He missed them both. Lakers on top, 62-61 with 1 minute to go in the third quarter, but it will be Phoenix Suns basketball.
Nothing has surprised me so far up to this point in this game.
Marion drives into the lane, corkscrews a little hook, missed it, rebound, laid it up and in. Marion so quick on that second opportunity, Will. He got by Kwame Brown before he knew what was happening.
Well, it looked like Lamar Odom actually had that rebound, but it took that one last bounce that just touched the rim enough that threw Lamar Odom off. And as you talked about, Marion able to get to that ball before Kwame Brown and put it back up.
Now Kobe goes to work on the block. He turns and twists, steps through defenders and laid it in. An awkward little twister in the lane. Back come the Phoenix Suns. Lakers on top by 1. Steal. Vujacic steps in front of House to pick it free. Dives for it near the scorer's table. Tumbles into the scorer's table here and over there at the broadcast position of the Phoenix Suns. Vinny Del Negro over there sidesteps Vujacic. Al McCoy deftly moves to his right. Nice job for the veteran. The Suns will take possession of the ball. The Lakers lead at 64-63.
Well, unforced turnover by Eddie House, but he was able to get a hand on it and knock it into the shin of Vujacic, and that's what sent the ball flying out of bounds.
Suns on the attack now to half court. Barbosa waiting his time on the left side with Parker on it. Bounces over to Thomas. Tim Thomas doubled out to Barbosa at the point. 11 to shoot. Bounces back to Tim Thomas. Glances at the clock. Hooks it back to Barbosa in a two-man continuation. Barbosa outside triggered it. Marion going up top, soaring for the rebound. Had it way up there, scraping it away from Bryant, and a loose ball foul called on Kobe.
Interesting situation. Nobody's putting a body on Sean Marion here in this third quarter, and he just got a running start. I thought he actually jumped over the back with Lamar Odom, and that's what Kobe Bryant's trying to argue. But what they're saying is that Kobe Bryant, when Sean Marion was in the air, hit Marion, who then went into the backside of Lamar Odom. So that they're saying the foul on Bryant was before Marion supposedly fouled Lamar Odom from our angle.
Well, you had a couple of skywalkers way up that time. Bryant picks up his fourth foul. Marion hits both free throws, 6 and 9, 10 seconds left. Out of the net, Odom throws it up the floor, intercepted by Barbosa. He drives into the lane, and Odom got a flick of the ball and was able to direct it out of bounds, saving what looked like was going to be a sure bucket for Barbosa on a heads-up play by the young Brazilian. The Suns lead by 1, and they'll have the ball in bounds from the baseline in front court.
It was almost Vujacic called for the ball. He was wide open at half court, but instead of waiting for the ball, he started running to the offensive end, and that allowed Barbosa, who was running back towards his end, to steal the ball.
Now Diaw will bring it in bounds from the baseline. 3 and 3/10 seconds. Gets it in bounds to Marion. Leans to the cup. A finger roll blocked by Odom. The goaltending is the call. The bucket will count. Marion, 16 points, 10 rebounds. Now turning it up a notch here in the last minute of play of the third quarter and giving the Suns a 3-point lead at 67-64.
A flourish of activity here at the end of this third quarter, but still 1.9 seconds left on the clock.
Walton will bring it in bounds. Odom will catch. Odom will turn across midcourt. He'll flick it up. Nearly banked it in. Well, a wild finish to this third period, and the Suns hold the lead here in Game 4 in Los Angeles, trailing in the series 2 games 1, 67-64.
And as Phil Jackson talked about, this is a must-win situation for the Lakers. It's almost like at that last 4 or 5 minutes, you saw the Phoenix Suns start to play with a sense of desperation.
Sean Marion scores the last 8 points for the Phoenix Suns as they take the lead here of 3 after 3 complete in Los Angeles. Today's game is brought to you by the U.S. Navy. Navy, accelerate your life. At the end of the third quarter, again, our score, the Phoenix Suns 67, the Los Angeles Lakers 64. You're listening to the NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio, presented by Radio Shack.
On ESPN Radio.
Suns have it on the inbounds now with 11 to shoot. Up top, Diaw, the lob at the cup. Marion soars in for a two-hand smash.
Well, same basket, but different result. We saw the same exact play run for the Lakers right off the jump ball. The Phoenix Suns come out, started the second half and went a lob.
Sean Marion, 10 of his 16 points coming in the third quarter, including the Suns' last 8. He has 16 and 10 rebounds. Steve Nash, 19 points, 8 assists, and the Suns down 2-1 in the series, lead the Lakers 67-64. At the end of 3 quarters, Kobe Bryant, Lamar Odom each have 14 for the Lakers. We head to the fourth, back to Staples Center in Los Angeles. Kevin Calabro and Will Perdue.
Well, Mark, the Phoenix Suns shot 11 of 23 from the field in the third period of play, and they forced 6 Laker turnovers and scored 8 points off of those turnovers. They were the team that came out and seized the third quarter, Will, when they went on a 6-0 run to start the period.
They did, and you look at the start of this fourth quarter, Kobe Bryant is out on the floor, but no Lamar Odom. And we were talking during that break, it almost looks like, curious, how much did that 11-minute rest, game time minutes, did that affect Kobe Bryant there in that third quarter? Because he had been sitting out and missing action for a long time.
We begin the fourth quarter play with the Lakers holding possession of the ball. Walton whips a pass right side to Devin George, gives it high post right of the lane. With it, Kobe Bryant double-teamed his pass, deflected by Thomas, corralled by House. Eddie House cross court to Thomas, fakes the three, drives, draws, and kicks. And with it, Barbosa.
Steve Nash still sitting on the sidelines, getting some well-needed rest.
Nash has played 29 minutes in this game. Here's Dial with it. Top of the key, turns and looks outside the three-point arc, 6 to shoot. Inside a whistle, Vujacic with the hold on Eddie House. Eddie trying to post Vujacic. And a foul call on the Lakers is their first team foul, giving the Suns the ball from the sideline in front court.
Vujacic better be careful because he got very demonstrative with Bennett Salvatore after that call was made, and Luke Walton stepped in between and told him that he better cool down.
And the officials have not had an easy afternoon. They may be a little frustrated, too. And 40 seconds gone by in the fourth period. Suns will bring it in bounds. Thomas with it, stands outside the three-point arc, right of the lane. Hands off to House. Thomas with a sprained medial collateral ligament in the left knee, drives into the lane, had a rip, but it rolls right to Boris Diaw. Up top for the jumper, missed the shot. Thomas, after the rebound, had it flicked away by Bryant. Kobe chases after it, but out of bounds off Laker hands. And the Suns now regroup. They had nothing going on that set at all, did they?
Well, they just threw that ball, Boris Diaw did, at the rim, and Tim Thomas able to get a hand on it, so they reset the shot clock, and then Walton knocked it out, so the Suns able to maintain possession with a new shot clock.
Diaw, Thomas, House, Barbosa, and Marion start this fourth quarter for the Suns. The inbounds is slanted into the corner to Eddie House with a step back, rimming, and finally rolling in. Eddie House with a shooter's touch.
You know, it's interesting. We were talking to Coach D'Antoni of the Phoenix Suns prior to the game, and one of the guys that he said was a key was that Eddie House needed to get going because if he plays well, I have an opportunity to rest Steve Nash.
69-64 count. Cross-court pass from Bryant, intercepted by Barbosa. Up ahead to Marion, leans to the glass and laid it up and in. And Phil Jackson launches himself out onto the court and calls a timeout.
We talked about in the first half, anytime Lamar Odom got the ball inside of half court, the Phoenix Suns were looking to double him. Now the start of the fourth quarter, anytime Kobe Bryant has touched the ball, one time in the post, that time on the perimeter, they've doubled him. The last two times down the floor, turnovers by the Lakers, both of them from Kobe Bryant.
Suns on top with their largest lead of the game, and Nash resting on the bench. 71-64 with his timeout and 10:35 remaining in the ball game. The NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio, presented by Radio Shack, continues after these messages from your local station.
On ESPN Radio.
10:35 left in regulation from Game 4. Phoenix 71 and the Lakers 64. Earlier today, the Bulls took out Miami 93-87. Series tied at 2. Headed back to Miami for Game 5 later on today. Cleveland at Washington and the Spurs at Sacramento. And ESPN Radio, your home for the NBA playoffs. Check out ESPNRadio.com later in the week for our matchups next weekend, plus every game of the conference finals and NBA finals right here on your home for the NBA playoffs, the NBA on ESPN Radio. Sean Marion right now has scored 10 of the Suns' last 12 points and has 18 points and 10 boards. Phoenix enjoying a 7-point lead early in the fourth quarter. Back to Kevin Calabro and Will Perdue.
Thank you, Mark. And just to continue that Marion theme, he has 2 steals and no turnovers in 36 minutes of work, and turnovers have been the issue here for the Lakers. They have turned it over 14 times, 20 points off of turnovers for the Phoenix Suns, and the Suns, well, have done a nice job of handling the ball. 7 turns only on the Suns.
And surprisingly, a team not known for their defense has changed the complexity of this game with their defense at the start of the fourth quarter.
They've been the aggressive team in the second half, no question about it. Suns have a 7-point lead as the Lakers swing it into play in the front court. Bryant with it. Turns under the guard of Marion. Bounces low to Odom. He's doubled. Driven out of there. Cross-court play to George for 3. They got it. Devin George on the swing from Odom. Drills a 3-pointer.
And you were talking about during that timeout that the play of the Phoenix Suns had taken the crowd right out of this game. Well, that 3 brings them right back.
Diaw with it. High post left of the key. 14 to shoot. Holding the ball. Checked by Brian Cook. Over to House. A deep 3 with 11 to shoot. Missed it. Tipped out by Thomas, but grabbed by Vujacic. Ahead to George in front court. Hands off to Bryant, trailing. Back to George for 3. He hit another one. Devin George with back-to-back threes. Changes the game just like that. The Suns' 7-point lead has vanished. The crowd is now on their feet, and the Lakers are within 71-70, and the Suns need a timeout.
This game's turning into a jack-in-the-box. Who knows what to expect next?
will step aside for the timeout with 9:45 to go in the ball game. Here from now, the rekindled Staples Center in Los Angeles. It's the Suns 71 and the Lakers 70. You're listening to the NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio, presented by Radio Shack.
On ESPN Radio.
It's time now for Will Perdue to answer the USPS question of the game, brought to you by the United States Postal Service and USPS.com/smart business. The question from Ken Hafner of Brick, New Jersey: could Lamar Odom be the guy on another team, or is he strictly a number 2 man?
Well, I think that Kenny had his opportunity to be the man in Miami. But then another guy by the name of Dwayne Wade came in town. And I think that as you talk about him, much like a Scottie Pippen, as much as he wants to be the man and has the skills to be the man, I think he is kind of better off as Robin is to Batman or Frick is to Frat. But he is definitely a guy that could do a little bit of everything, but he needs somebody to take the attention off of him, and that's where Kobe Bryant comes into the picture.
Ken Hafner of Brick, New Jersey. Brick, New Jersey has won an ESPN Insider subscription to ask your USPS question of the game, or to find out how to become an ESPN Insider. Log on to ESPNRadio.com.
Okay, we were just talking about 50 seconds ago, the crowd at this Staples Center was dead. We use the terminology sitting on their hands. 2 threes later, this place has come alive, and it's just unbelievable the turns that we've seen here in this fourth quarter from one end of the floor to the other.
Right now it's just bursting with Laker pride. 9:45 to go in the fourth quarter. Suns on top, 71-70. Diaw with it, top of the key, 14 to shoot. Swings it left side of Nash. He's back in the lineup. Nash avoids Parker, spins into the lane, double, kicks it out to Diaw. The extra pass to Thomas. He'll drive, bounce to left side. Nash, fall-away jumper, grazed the iron, free ball, grabbed by Thomas. Thomas digs it out of the clutter and laid it in.
That might be his third. I'm not sure on this, but I'm pretty sure that's his third offensive rebound for a putback today.
73-70, and the Phoenix Suns by 3. 9:13 to go in the game. Odom up top to Smush Parker. They drop it low to Cook. Low block right side. Ryan Cook, one dribble to the middle. Terminates the dribble. 6 to shoot out to Parker. Smush gives to Cook for 3. Off the back rim. Diaw sprints after the ball. Corrals it in the corner. Sends to Nash. Long lead pass in the front court. Thomas didn't look it into the hands. He lost it right to Brian Cook. The 8th turnover on the Suns this afternoon. Now the Lakers the other way, trailing by 3. Kobe at the controls, double. Jump pass to George, another 3. Off the back rim. Rebound tip, controlled by Brian Cook as he sprinted across the paint. Lakers reset with 19 to shoot. Kobe inches his way down the right sideline with Bell on his hip. Kobe looking over the right shoulder, waiting for Odom to come to screen. Kobe races in the air, cross court to Cook. Drives baseline, spins, straightens, fires, no. Rebound deflected into the corner. Diving forward is Cook, tipping it away out of bounds. Last touch by the Lakers. The Suns will take it.
I think it was actually Lamar Odom got a hand on it, and it just started going out of bounds. Cook was the one that tried to dive and save it, so either way, it would have been possession of the Phoenix Suns.
Kwame Brown and Luke Walton wait at the scorer's table to come in with 8:18 remaining here in the fourth period. The balls are swung into play with the Suns leading 73-70. Nash and Diaw on the floor, along with Jones, Raja Bell, and Sean Marion. Nash with 12 to shoot, working the left elbow, terminates the dribble, outside and comes to James Jones. Jones beyond the three-point arc, makes the move on Bryant Cook. Dribble handoff to Bell, shoots it out to Diaw. He'll launch and miss. Rebound Marion. Sneaked inside on Cook, plucked it out of midair, and sends it outside to Nash at midcourt. Now Steve wants to set the floor. Working on the screen from Bell. He'll drive left side, but he is stonewalled there and forced out to the 8-second mark. He'll regroup, 10 to shoot. Makes his move behind the back crossover, looking deep, throws outside to Diao, into the lane, to the glass, laid it in. Boy, the Suns were so patient that time, Will.
What happened to the defense? It looked like as Boris Diao went into the paint, the Suns just spread like the Red Sea and gave him a layup.
Diao with 14 on 7 of 14 shooting. He has been Nash's favorite target this afternoon. Suns by 5. Bryant now backs down into a double team, and Marion with busy hands chops that ball away. It is recovered by Nash, but there is a kick ball called apparently.
Wow.
And the Lakers will take it back. Did you see that?
I did not see that. I saw the ball around the floor. He's saying that Marion got a hand on it.
Good call.
Steve Nash did actually stick his foot up, but it wasn't a pass. It was a loose ball, but they're saying he did actually kick it.
He kicked it to keep it in play.
To keep it from going out of bounds, exactly.
His father was a soccer coach there in Victoria, British Columbia, and his brother's a professional soccer player, grew up playing a lot of soccer. 7:13 to go, fourth quarter. Suns on top, 75-70, and the Lakers with possession. Kobe Bryant with a jab stepping, trying to cross over on Bell. Instead, will fire it across the arc to Odom. He'll drive into the lane, lean to the cup, and lay it in. Odom with a terrific drive, laid it in, and is fouled by Diao, who is in big trouble now.
Well, Diao didn't even know that Odom was taken to the basket. He was just trying to keep Kwame Brown off the backboard because Odom was standing out on the three-point line all alone. Diao thought that he was going to take that shot. He was just struggling to keep Kwame Brown off the backboard. Next thing he knows, Odom's running up his back, and the officials call the foul on Diao.
Diao picks up his fourth. Bell has 4. Barbosa with 4 fouls. Marion with 3. Here's Odom to the line. The Lakers can pull within a bucket. And they do.
How about the Phoenix Suns? You can hear him in that microphone up underneath the basket saying that Lamar Odom had his foot on the line, saying that free throw should not count.
7 minutes remaining in the ball game. Nash left side on a pick and slip. It's Diao double clutching and drawing the foul in the act. Boris will shoot.
As intricate as these offenses have gotten in the NBA, the bottom line is you need to know how to play the screen roll in order to be able to win. Because as you get down into the clutch situations like this, teams just go to the screen roll, and I'm not sure if there was ever a better combination than Stockton and Malone in Utah.
No. Odom with his 3rd foul. Because they played at so many angles, and they had so many variations, the pick and pop, the pick and fade, hard pick and roll. And he had all those angles Stockton did in his head, didn't he?
No, he did. And I tell you what, if it wasn't for a guy by the name of Michael Jordan, the Utah Jazz might have won 2 championships.
Boris Diao steps up with a terrific game this afternoon and hits 2 free throws. He has 16 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds, and the Suns lead by 4, 77-73. Lakers in the half court. 6:45 to play, and a foul called. This will work against the Lakers. Raja Bell was knocked down.
Did he call this on Kobe?
Good.
Is that right? That's Kobe's 5th foul.
Yep, he just shook Raja Bell, knocked him down. Kobe with 5 fouls at the 6:38 mark here in the 4th. Here's Nash now into the lane. Threads a pass through traffic. Right side to Jones. Over to Diao. Avoids defenders at the paint. They're in the lane. Outside it comes to Bell. Cross court near point. Jones unwinds and knocks down a deep 2.
And I was looking at that. I was wondering where that shot came from because there were still 8 seconds left on the shot clock. But nonetheless, he knocks it down.
Suns on top, 79-73. 6:13 to go in the ball game. Kwame Brown with the ball outside the three-point perimeter looking for Kobe Bryant. Bryant making that a long pass now, sprints out and just takes the ball from Kwame Brown beyond the three-point arc. Kobe trapped at the sideline, terminates the dribble, off balance shot, didn't have a chance with 1 on the clock. It rims into the hands of Diao. Out it comes to Nash on the run. Free-flowing with 19 to shoot and 5:49 to play. Nash into the lane, drives and kicks. Marion to the baseline, leans in. This hopper is good from 8 feet on the left side, and the Suns have their largest lead of the game. Up 8, 81-73. The Lakers need a timeout.
And I tell you what, that's the first time we've seen Kobe Bryant do that in this series. That looked like the Kobe Bryant of the regular season. He was double-teamed from the three-point line, and he still tried to force that shot. I don't know if he feels a sense of desperation. There's still 5:41 to go in this game, and now all of a sudden you look up and they're down 8.
5:41 left in the 4th quarter. And the score, the Phoenix Suns 81 and the Lakers 73. The NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio, presented by Radio Shack, continues after these messages from your local station.
On ESPN Radio.
Install a new Fram air filter every 12,000 miles. It can improve your vehicle's performance and save you money at the pump. Remember, before you slam it, Fram it.
Time for the results of the AutoZone In the Zone poll question, brought to you by AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. We asked who would be the player of the game, and Kobe Bryant getting 50% of the vote. Steve Nash at 36%. Sean Marion only getting 8% of the vote, but he's got 20 points and 11 rebounds, keying a 10-3 run. Phoenix 81-73 over the Lakers, 5:41 to play. Let's go back to Kevin Calabro and Will Purdue.
Well, we rarely talk about the Phoenix Suns and their defense, but they are a determined defensive group. They're playing small. They're able to rotate. You mentioned the fact that they are doubling Kobe before the catch, almost on the catch, outside the three-point arc. You rarely see that.
Yeah, you rarely do. They just said, hey, if you're going to beat us, somebody else is going to have to do it. You've done it the first couple games. Let's see if you can do it now when you're down.
Kobe splits a pair of defenders, but then Marion steps up out of the paint, forcing Kobe right of the lane, and then got a piece of the shot, but a foul called. Kobe Bryant will shoot two. Boy, the Suns defended that perfectly, and it looked like Marion had a clean block. Certainly the Phoenix Suns did.
Well, we get the pleasure of seeing the replay here, and it looks like Sean Marion comes from the backside and got all ball. You could see the reaction of Marion, Steve Nash, Coach D'Antoni, the whole Phoenix Suns bench.
Bryant to the line, hits the free throw. The Lakers have had their chances at the line, but they have not cashed in. 16-23 for the game.
How about official Sean Corbett standing right in front of us? D'Antoni never got within 20 feet of him, but he's been talking to him the whole time about that foul. And only until the last second did Corbin actually make eye contact with Coach D'Antoni of the Suns.
Bryant hits the second free throw, 16 points, 8 assists for Kobe, and the Phoenix Suns lead is 6. Nash, right side, Parker fell on the play. Nash makes a pass, gets it back, shoots an open three, missed it, rebound to Diaw. Out to Nash, reloads from three. This is short, just dancing short off the rim and controlled by Lamar Odom. Boy, the crowd was sighing when Nash had an open look at that three.
And if you want to talk about a difference in this game, it's rebounding for the Phoenix Suns.
Parker drives into the lane, running right-hander won't go. Brown keeps it alive into the hands of Parker, outside to George. Swings it high post to Odom, hands off to Bryant. Scoots into the corner with a dribble, faces up one-on-one of Marion, backs, turns, rocks, reverse pivot, outside it comes to Odom. 13 to shoot for Odom, right of the lane. Given to Parker, diving into the lane, running righty, no. Rebound, Brown laid it up, blew it at the cup. Blew it at the cup, and Nash comes in for the rebound. Nash avoids Parker out of backcourt. Drives and kicks. This is Jones. He squares on a three. No. Odom with a rebound. 4:25 left in the game. Suns lead 81-75.
Boy, the Phoenix Suns constantly looking for the dagger down on their end with a three-point shot, but just can't knock one down.
Bryant off the Brown screen, hesitates, top of the key with a dribble, 10 to shoot. Flicks the chest pass to George. He enters to Odom, low block left, checked by Marion. He'll back turn, lean in, bank and score. Odom is fouled by Marion and will go to the line.
Boy, Sean Marion caught himself there because he was going to grab that ball. He thought otherwise with that call by Kenny Maurer. He was about to do something he was going to regret that time, but he caught himself because I can't repeat the language he was using, but I tell you, we talk about how Kobe's initiated some of the things. That time it looked like Lamar Odom just took his shoulder, lowered it, because all of Marion looks like he tried to do was get out of the way.
The foul on Sean Marion is his 5th. And he is having unquestionably his best game of this series with 20 points and 11 rebounds.
Well, going into this game itself, as Odom hit that free throw, he was averaging 17.7 rebounds in the regular season. He was giving 22 points and 12 rebounds, decidedly lower than the regular season, but he has come to play today.
Odom hits the free throw. He has 20 this afternoon. Crowd chanting defense as the Suns come the other way. Nash in the half court. 3:53 to play in the game, 10 to shoot. Left side it goes to Diaw. Backs and whirls on Parker. The slam by Diaw will not count. The foul on Parker will be the second team foul on the Lakers. A non-shooting deal with the Suns leading here 81-78.
Well, how about Steve Nash? He could have easily taken that ball and gone by Kwame Brown and attacked the basket, but he elected to pass it off. Diao down on the post to let him work on the smaller Smush Parker.
Luke Walton is in now with Odom and Brown, Parker and Bryant, 14 to shoot. Suns crank it in play. Marion with it, right side, isolate a one-on-one on Brown. Marion will slant into the middle, dribble off his knee. It rolls right to Diao. 3 to shoot to Nash. He's got a 3 in his sights, in and out. Rebound flicked to the inline. After it is Marion. After is Odom. And last touch by Marion out of bounds. It'll be Laker ball. Here they come with a chance to tie the game with a 3. It's 81-78 Phoenix. 3:33 left in the ball game.
How about this game of runs in the fourth quarter? We saw five straight points by the Suns. Phil Jackson calls timeout. Out of the timeout, the LA comes back and scores 6 straight points. Coach D'Antoni calls timeout. Then the Suns come out and outscore them 10-3, and the Lakers call timeout again, and now they've scored 5 straight points.
Let's see if the Lakers go at Marion. He has 5 fouls, and Odom down on the low block wants it. Walton working with an 8 to shoot, top of the key. Walton gives Jacoby 5 to shoot. Back to Walton, fading right side, glances at the clock, gets off a shot off the back rim. Marion collects the rebound. So the Lakers unable to go at Marion after Odom had really established up in the last couple of trips down. Suns with a 3-point lead now. Here's Nash off the pick from Diao, 12 to shoot, but he's forced out by Kwame Brown. Nash left side, point to Bell. Bouncing mid-block to Diao. Back down on Parker, hook pass to Marion. Oh, he threw it by him and out of bounds. The Suns turn it over for the 9th time this afternoon.
And Sean Marion was trying to tell Boris Diao to throw it up at the basket, but Diao tried to do the old Steve Nash no look. He threw that thing pretty hard, but almost down at the floor.
Lakers bring it up, trailing the Phoenix Suns 81-78. 2:43 remaining in the ball game. Odom will enter to Walton, get it back, drive into the lane. The ball ripped away by Marion. Is fouled out of the game. They went right back with a quick hitter to Odom on a dribble toss down the left side, Will, and Marion reached in and ripped the ball away. And that even looked like a clean block to me, but the 6th foul on Marion. At 2:37 here in the fourth period, with the Suns leading by 3, 81-78, could be devastating to Phoenix.
Now, who is going to step in for the Phoenix Suns? Somebody has to step up for the Phoenix Suns now. We've seen the way Steve Nash has played, but surprisingly, Steve Nash has missed his last 3 open jump shots, all of them 3s, but he's been unable to knock them down. Coach D'Antoni is looking at the officials saying, hey, it's the first dead ball situation underneath the 3-minute mark. Why isn't there a timeout? And now the scorer's table is explaining to him why there is not a timeout. He kept waiting for the officials to call timeout before he put a substitute in, and now he puts in Tim Thomas.
We will take a timeout. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. You're listening to the NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio, presented by Radio Shack. Lamar Odom at the free throw line, hits the free throw. He'll get another as Sean Marion is fouled out of the game. Marion fouling out, Will, with 20 points, 12 rebounds, and now Odom can get the Lakers to within 1 with 2:37 remaining if he can make the free throw here.
And the reason why I was able to talk to the officials, you're only required to have 3 timeouts in the fourth quarter, and we talked about the runs. There's already been 3 timeouts here, so there's no timeout under the 3-minute mark. Unless, of course, one is called by the coaches.
Odom hits the second free throw, and so now the Suns' lead is at 1 with 2:32 remaining in the ballgame. Here's Nash off the DL screen, left to right, into the lane, kick out to Jones, to Bell, top side for 3, got it! Raja Bell guns down at 3, and the Suns lead 84-80, 2:18 remaining.
The biggest cheerleader on the floor right now, or should we say on the hardwood, Sean Marion on the sidelines.
Here's Bryant with it, high post, right-hand side of the lane. Bounces to Odom, mid-block right doubled. Odom, driven to the sideline, gets rid of it to Walton, finds Parker coming from the opposite point for the lay-in. Good look by Walton to pull the Lakers to within 2 with 1:55 remaining. 84-82, Suns on top. Nash at the controls, far point, giving it to Diao, drop step pivot into the lane, laid it in easily. He blows by Parker, and Parker got no backside help.
And what they're doing is the Lakers are switching all the screens, so that's what's giving them the height advantage down the post. They run that screen with Parker, and he ends up switching, and he ends up on the bigger man.
1:35 remaining in the ball game. Suns lead it 86-82. Odom leans in on the run. run. He collapses to the floor. He was collected in there by James Jones, and they're going to call a charge on Odom. They say Jones had set position outside the restricted area.
Well, Lamar Odom spun. They played him on the high side, Diao did, and then he spun baseline, and Jones was waiting there for him. Might have been a little bit of a flop, but he definitely was outside of that no-charge circle.
Phoenix Suns lead by 4, 86-82. 1:23 remaining in the ballgame. Nash down the left sideline, checked by Parker, waiting for Diao to position himself for the screen. He comes off the pick. Nash fires in and out. Rebound corralled by Devin George. The Lakers have one full. The Phoenix Suns 2 full timeouts. Crowd on their feet now as Kobe handles double team. Gives over to Odom. Drives to the baseline. He's doubled. Outside to George. He fires a three. Got it. Devin George has hit his third three-pointer of the second half. The Lakers are within one at 86-85.
We always talk about who is going to step up. Well, today for the Lakers, it's been Devin George.
50 seconds remaining in the game, and the Suns lead by 1. Nash handling. Gets a screen from Diao. Slants in left to right. Kicks it outside to Bell. The extra pass to Thomas for 3, and he rings in a three-pointer. Tim Thomas with a three-pointer, and the Suns take the lead at 89-85 with 40 seconds remaining in the game.
And you hit it on the head, Kevin. We talked to D'Antoni when he was talking to reporters prior to the game. He said one of the things they need to concentrate on was making that extra pass, and it looked like Bell was going to take that shot. He drove, collapsed the defense. Of course, Tim Thomas, we know where he's going to be hanging out. Outside the three-point line, knocks it down.
40 and 8/10 seconds remaining in the ball game. The Suns 89, the Lakers 85 with a timeout. You're listening to the NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio, presented by Radio Shack.
on ESPN Radio.
Welcome back to the Staples Center, Los Angeles, California. Along with Will Perdue, this is Kevin Calabro. The Los Angeles Lakers have a 2-1 edge in this series. However, the Phoenix Suns in Game 4 trying to turn this back to Phoenix and make it a 3-game set with the home court advantage, have a lead here at 89-85. Just a moment ago, Tim Thomas, on the heels of a Raja Bell three-pointer, drilled a three, and the Suns now with the lead, but the Lakers with possession and no full timeouts left for them.
Wow. And we've talked about this game itself. I mean, what is it? 15 lead changes, tied 12 times. We've seen a little bit of everything here in this second half. Talking about guys stepping up. Devin George, but we also asked who's going to step up for the Phoenix Suns when Sean Marion fouled out. Well, the last two baskets for the Phoenix Suns have been big threes. Raja Bell from the top of the key, Tim Thomas from the right wing.
Lamar Odom with 22 points leads the Lakers with 7 rebounds as well. Kwame Brown at 12 and 10 afternoon. Kobe Bryant has played 33 minutes, 16 points, 8 assists for Bryant on 6 for 10 shooting from the field. Just 10 shots for Kobe Bryant.
You know, I have a feeling that Coach D'Antoni of the Phoenix Suns might have said, who's ever guarding Devin George, don't leave him on the perimeter.
He said 3 3-pointers in the second half. But the Lakers need more than that. They're down 4. They'll bring it in bounds with 40 and 8/10 seconds remaining in the game. The inbounds comes to Odom deep in the far corner. Odom turns and faces up on Boris Diaw. Kobe Bryant comes into the vicinity to get the ball. Takes it for an instant, drops it back to Odom, 15 to shoot. Odom outside the three-point arc to Kobe, raises with 12 to shoot for 3, missed it. Thomas soars in for the rebound.
And again, we talked about the rebounding differential. The Lakers were beating him by 10 rebounds a game in this series, and now you look at it, it's 37-38. The Lakers only have a 1-rebound advantage in this game today.
And Tim Thomas has done some damage. Thomas did not start the ball game. After starting the previous 3, he had apparently sprained the left medial collateral ligament during the game in Game 3, but continued to play and may have been a scratch today. It was a game-time decision. He was a go, and he has been a huge lift here in the fourth quarter for them. The Suns now will bring it in bounds with 16 and 8/10 seconds remaining in the game. Nash double, gets rid of it to Diaw. Jump pass cross court, but on the pass he is fouled. And this now will put the Lakers over the limit. The second foul under 2 minutes. It puts the Suns at the line with a 4-point lead at 89-85. 12 and 6/10 seconds remaining in this game.
We were talking to Coach D'Antoni again and again. We refer to this, but people asked him what was he going to do different. He said, hey, we're not going to do anything different. We basically shot 43% in Game 3, and we had a chance to win. Well, guess what? They're shooting 43% today, and they look like they're going to win this game, but still, 12.6 seconds to go. DL misses the first. They're only up 4, but they've hit some of, as Coach D'Antoni called, timely shots. He said the difference in this series has been the Lakers have hit timely shots, and we have not. Well, we talk about Roger Bell and Tim Thomas have hit some timely shots, and that right there is a timely free throw by Boris Diaw.
Yeah, the bell struck at the right time, and then Thomas coming back with a three-pointer that just took the spirit away from the Lakers. And now the 2 free throws added for the Suns give them or the 1 of 2, give them a 5-point lead at 90-85 with 12 and 16 seconds remaining here in the game. And Boris Diaw, what a terrific game he has played with 19 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists in 41 minutes, and 8 of 15 from the field. Diaw, with his first playoff experience here in this highly charged atmosphere, played with the cool confidence of a veteran, and it's pretty obvious that Nash was trying to get Diaw going in the first half. That was Nash's favorite target, and running a lot of that pick and roll up there on that elbow.
Well, when it wasn't Steve Nash scoring, as you talked about, you go back and you look at the stat sheet from the first quarter, Diaw, was trying to get some shots, only 1 of 3, but he was a guy that was trying to get involved. Steve Nash with 11 in that first quarter, but it's kind of interesting. They've had different guys step up today. Sean Marion took over in the second half, or should we say in the third quarter. Steve Nash kind of kept them in the first half. And you've seen other guys, Diaw, Raja Bell, stepped up in his fourth and hit some big shots, considering I think Steve Nash has actually missed his last 4.
90-85, Suns on top. Lakers bringing in play. Parker outside the three-point arc. Holden now finally gets airborne and drills a 3. 7 and 9/10 seconds remaining. And Smush Parker now has given the Lakers a chance with the Suns leading 90-88. 7 and 9/10 seconds remaining, and the Suns call a timeout.
And how about Steve Nash was right there in Parker's face. Parker threw a couple fakes. It almost looked like Parker wanted to pass it, but he didn't have anybody to pass it to, so he just went ahead and shot the ball.
Yeah, that was a bit beguiling when it looked like he had given up on the play, was trying to get rid of the thing, and then, well, I've got nowhere to go. I'm going to go up top and take the three-point shot. The Lakers have played that way this afternoon, Will. They've not come out with that swagger that you thought they may to start the third quarter. When Phoenix just seized the momentum, they came out on a 6-0 run, and the Lakers looked like they weren't ready to play basketball.
Especially when Phil Jackson was the one that was saying his team, even though they're up 2-1, should play with a sense of desperation, because if Phoenix comes in and wins this game today, all this series has done is hold home court. So if that continues to be the way this series goes, now it's the best out of 3, and Phoenix has 2 games at home, Game 5 and Game 7.
And the Suns may have been vulnerable when Marion fouled out with 3 minutes remaining in this one, but that's when as you mentioned, the other weapons stepped up. Raja Bell, Tim Thomas, drilling those back-to-back threes.
And you could also compare that to the first half, though. Kobe Bryant only plays 57 seconds in the second quarter, but the Phoenix Suns are not able to take advantage of that in the first half.
They were tied at 41 at half. The turnovers have killed the Lakers, though. Bottom line, 16 turnovers, 22 points off turnovers. They've only forced 9 for 6 points off turnovers. The Suns have been the better defensive basketball team today.
Well, I think this classifies as one of those games under go figure.
And it's not over yet. 7 and 9/10 seconds remaining. The Suns lead 90-88. Phoenix now will swing it in play. They have it in front court off to the far side, and Diaw will bring it in. Bryant will defend him. Kenny Bauer will give Diaw the basketball, and now they bring it in play. Bryant's going to defend anybody that comes to the ball. He tries to force Nash to the baseline. Nash makes the inbound catch. It's deflected away. Lakers have it. Kobe with 2 seconds into the air, loops it up and in. We're tied with 7/10 of a second remaining. The game is tied at 90-90.
Oh, and that's the guy you want to get the ball to, Steve Nash, one of the best free throw shooters in the league. But he trips and falls, goes down to one knee. turns the ball over. How about Devin George? He's dribbling the ball down the floor. It looks like he's begging somebody to take it out of his hands, and he gives it to Kobe Bryant.
And Kobe pops it straight up and in the cylinder. And on the inbounds, it was Kobe that forces Nash out to midcourt. He was off balance. Getting a hand on it was Parker. He jabs it away to George at midcourt. Kobe sidesteps Bell, lead it up and in.
And how about Boris Diaw coming from the weak side to even provide good defense? I mean, Kobe just flew the old finger roll up and over the extended arms of two defenders. He was behind the basket when he shot that ball, Kevin.
Well, we mentioned when they brought it in play, it is not over. 7 and 9/10 seconds remaining when the Suns had it in front court and were attempting to bring it in bounds.
I will say this, if there is one team out there that has a play in their playbook that can score with 7/10 of a second left, it's going to be the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah, let's talk about their options now.
Well, you usually want to talk about your most dangerous man on the floor is going to be the guy taking it out of bounds. But with 7/10 of a second, you don't have that ability. You have the ball right here at half court in front of us, so you want to catch something going towards the basket. On the other hand, the Lakers want to force the Phoenix Suns to catch the ball going away from the Phoenix Suns basket. But I don't know. As we've seen in this game tonight, anything's possible.
Score tied at 90-90. The Suns turn it over for just the 10th time today. It could be costly.
Well, we talked about the timely shots that the Phoenix Suns have hit today. How about the timely turnover that the Lakers were able to cause here in this fourth quarter?
Diaw will bring it in bounds now to near sideline with Kobe Bryant defending. Diaw head up and scanning, looks toward the rim, and then immediately calls a timeout. 20-second timeout called by the Phoenix Suns.
And you got to give Kobe Bryant credit that time because Steve Nash was open. Devin George had stumbled a little bit. Steve Nash was coming to the ball to receive the pass, but Kobe Bryant did a great job defensively of preventing the man out of bounds from seeing Steve Nash.
Diaw's first look was toward the rim. They've always got that lob that's built into any of their sets.
And most of the time that lob is for who?
Shawn Marion, who's not here. He fouled out of the game with 3 minutes remaining.
Now you talk about advantages. What if this game goes into overtime? You would think now that the Lakers have the advantage because people, how about the people that left the building? We were talking about, we didn't mention it, but during that one timeout, people were leaving.
That's
you
true.
think they're running back in from the parking lot?
I hope so, because we are 7/10 of a second remaining here in regulation. Could go into overtime. Let's see if Nash brings the ball in this time. He won't. It'll be Diaw.
I think you still have to use a bigger man, and now Phil Jackson is even using a bigger defender on Diaw. It was Kobe Bryant the time before. This time it's Lamar Odom, 6'10", and long arms.
Here's Diaw at the sideline with 7/10 of a second remaining in the ball game. The score tied at 90-90. Diaw will get the ball from the official, and again will slap the leather, looks in the far corner to Nash, looks cross-court toward the rim. It's up to Jones, who actually was able to get under it and push it up toward the rim, but hit the bottom of the rim. And we are going into overtime here in Los Angeles, tied at 90-90. How about that?
How about Mike D'Antoni of the Phoenix Suns looks at Bennett Salvatore, throws his hands up in the air like, hey, it looked to me like my guy got held underneath the basket because somehow he got open, and as you talked about, got a shot off. Oh, how about that?
Oh.
We have the advantage of replay. It looked like Luke Walton had a little bit of jersey there, Kevin.
That's happened to the playoffs a time or two. Well, we go to the 5-minute overtime. 90-90 the score. We'll be back to Los Angeles, California in just a moment. You're listening to the NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio, presented by Radio Shack.
On ESPN Radio.
Back at the Staples Center in Los Angeles, California, Game 4 between the Lakers and the Phoenix Suns in this first-round battle, with the Lakers leading 2-1. The Lakers come back to tie the game and send it into overtime as the Suns, with possession, 7 and 9/10 seconds remaining in regulation and up 2, turn the ball over, and Kobe Bryant scored. We now go to the extra session.
And how do the Phoenix Suns respond to this? Because it looked like they had this game won, and here we are going into overtime.
The tip is won by Kobe Bryant and the Lakers. Smush Parker, who had a big three in the waning moments of this game and created that steal on Nash, will handle it. Top side to Odom. Sends it to Brown. Turnaround jump hook. Hits a front rim. Thomas with a rebound.
A little surprising they would go inside to Kwame Brown here, but again, they've taken his team philosophy, and it's gotten into the fourth quarter.
Suns without Sean Marion. He fouled out with 3 minutes remaining in regulation. Tim Thomas is going to have to carry the load with 9 to shoot. Outside, James Jones for 3. No. A foul concurrent with a shot, and it will work against the Phoenix Suns. Boris Diaw knocked Parker down, and Diaw...
Boy, how about the official Sean Corbin was standing right in front of the play. He makes no call whatsoever. Bennett Salvatore from the other side of the floor is the one that calls the foul.
Diaw's 5th foul. Lakers set up, and with it, Bryant, top of the key, skipping with a dribble, 12 to shoot. Bounces left sideline to Odom. Back out on top beyond the three-point arc. Bryant makes his move. We have a whistle, 3 seconds in the lane. Whistle on Luke Walton of the Lakers.
And that's where I talk about, I said Bennett Salvatore made that call from the other side of the floor. We have the advantage of seeing a replay. Nice flop by Smush Parker. Obviously, Bennett Salvatore sees a body flying, makes the call. No harm, though, for the Phoenix Suns.
4 minutes remaining in the overtime, and Nash coming off a Thomas screen. Directs it back to Thomas for 3. Got it. Tim Thomas on the left side on the setup from Nash. Nash with his 12th assist here in the afternoon, and Thomas paying huge dividends. 12.7 rebounds. The Suns on top, 93-90.
And Tim Thomas was a mid-season acquisition for the Phoenix Suns.
Odom with it. Slants a pass across the three-point arc to Bryant. 1-on-1, 8 to shoot. Jabs right, moves right into the lane. Trying to take it strong to the cup with 2 hands, but fouled by Thomas. Good foul applied by Tim Thomas because Kobe was going to posterize him with a 2-hand flush. Instead, he's got to earn him at the line.
Maybe you could straighten this out for me. Mike D'Antoni was also named general manager along with his head coaching duties. Now, was Tim Thomas brought in prior to that, or was he brought in after that? Because he was actually just sitting in New York working out because Chicago wouldn't relinquish his rights even though they didn't have him on the active roster.
That was, I think, the last bit of business that Brian Colangelo did before he moved down to Toronto. It was March 3rd, I think, was his first game with this ball club.
Boy, has that paid huge dividends for this Phoenix Suns team. And I think I actually remember was doing that game. His first game in Phoenix was against the Orlando Magic. I think he had 21 points. And I think he was like 7 of 8 from three-point range.
Kobe Bryant hits that first free throw. Now he steps up to the next with the crowd chanting MVP. We'll find out soon about that. Bryant with a free throw up and in. 93-92. Suns on top by 1. 3:29 remaining in overtime.
Now, does Kobe Bryant continue to defer to his teammates, or is this Kobe time?
Last year's MVP, Nash, coming off the top of screen, picked up on a jump switch by Odom, off to the far sideline, 12 to shoot. Nash working with a dribble. Bounces to Thomas. He'll turn, follow a jumper over Parker, glances off the rim, and the rebound controlled by Luke Walton.
Well, I tell you what, things are getting physical underneath that basket right now. As you see Mike D'Antoni talking to Kenny Maurer about it, looked like Luke Walton was grabbing this jersey of Boris Diaw out on the floor.
Lakers have a chance to take the lead now. Kobe communicating with Odom to screen. Does so outside the three-point arc. Bell, however, fights over the top of the pick. Bryant picks up the dribble to Odom for 3, squares on it and missed it. Bell soars in for the rebound, and the Suns come the other way, leading 93-92 in overtime with 2:38 remaining. Nash one-on-one and Odom, isolated on the left side, backs it out, but maintains the dribble. Looking for Thomas, instead swings it up top to Diaw. 8 to shoot to Nash. Now they'll feed Thomas. They'll back down on Smush Parker, turn, fade, fire, and set it up too strong off the back rim. Walton with a rebound.
The player that was having success on that switch was Boris Diaw when he was getting Smush Parker on his back. I'm surprised they haven't gone to running the screen roll with him to get that matchup in the post.
2:09 left in the overtime, and the Lakers down 1, 10 to shoot. Kobe will swing it up top to Parker beyond the three-point arc, center of the court. He'll just dribble into a 3 and let it go. Rimming short, rebound to Diaw. Here comes Nash out of backcourt.
Almost looks like he doesn't know what to do with that ball. He just wants to get it to Kobe to get it out of his hands.
Very tentative. Even on the one he hit in the closing moments of the fourth. Very tentative. Diaw, low block right, spins and packs it with two hands. Diaw had Parker on his hip, spun by him, and threw it down. And the Phoenix Suns now take a lead of 3 with 1:44 remaining in the overtime, and the Lakers call a timeout.
I think I need to get into coaching. Didn't I just mention that Boris Diaw was having success on Smush Parker down in the paint?
And they didn't give him any help from the backside at all.
And the two previous times down the floor, they'd run the screen roll with Tim Thomas, who had gotten Smush Parker in the paint, unable to capitalize. That time they go and run the screen roll with Boris Diaw, get the matchup they want, take advantage of it.
1:44 left in the overtime, and the Suns lead it 95-92. You're listening to the NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio, presented by Radio Shack.
On ESPN Radio.
Welcome back to the Staples Center in Los Angeles. Along with Will Perdue, I'm Kevin Calabro. We're in overtime of Game 4, with the series being led by the Lakers 2-1. 1:44 remaining in the overtime, and the Phoenix Suns leading 95-92. Sean Marion is out. He fouled out with 3 minutes remaining in regulation. Diaw is playing right there at the razor's edge with 5 personal fouls, and he's been terrific today. 21 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. But Steve Nash has, of course, been the orchestrator. 19 points, 11 assists for Nash thus far. As the Lakers bring it out of backcourt now, they have a chance to tie the game with 1:37 remaining in OT. Bryant has it, center of the court, feeds it high post, right side to Odom, dribble on the deck, sneaks between defenders, missed a shot. His bottle tip of the right hand is off the mark. George comes up with a rebound in the scramble, and the ball is flicked outside to Kobe Bryant. He'll handle it with 21 to shoot. 1:20 left in the overtime. Kobe to Odom, inside to Walton, back to Odom on the drive, laid it in and one. He's fouled, and Odom goes to the line.
Great movement without the ball by Odom. Flips the ball into the post, fakes like he's going to cut baseline, makes the defense commit, then cuts back over the top into the lane, and then is able to finish and get the foul.
Foul on Tim Thomas. The Lakers trying to scramble back into a tie here. The last time the Lakers led this game was way back in the third quarter at 64-63.
How about the guy that's been the playoff hero for the Lakers? Walton makes the nice little drop pass, gives it to Odom where he can finish at the basket.
Walton with his 4th assist of the game, also 9 rebounds and 6 points. Now Odom with 24 big ones, 8 rebounds, 5 assists to tie the game, and he did. Odom up there at the line now is hit on 11 of 14. Fabulous. 95-95 count. 1:10 remaining in OT. Phoenix Suns basketball. Set out high at the near edge is Bell. Centering pass to Nash, top of the key. 1-on-1 at Odom. Drives and had it popped free. He says he was fouled. The officials say the ball jabbed away from behind out of bounds. And it will be awarded to Phoenix with 10 to shoot along the baseline. But the Suns will call a timeout.
Okay, but I think that qualifies as it possibly was a foul, so we'll just give you possession of the ball.
And they'll get it with 10 to shoot. And 1:01 to play in the overtime, tied at 95-95. Now, the Phoenix Suns. They will have, of course, Nash and Diaw at their disposal. Tim Thomas has been a go-to guy. James Jones has not been able to find the range. He is 3 of 10 this afternoon from the field. Playing without Sean Marion, what does that do to them in the stretch in crunch time? Well, what does that take out of their offensive mix?
Well, I think it takes their post-up threat, but the guy that stepped in and given them that threat in the post has been Diaw, because of the way when they run the screen roll, they're getting Smush Parker on the switch, and they're getting him down in the post. And we talked about Tim Thomas tried it on 2 straight possessions. He was unable to capitalize. Then they went back to running the screen roll with Boris Diaw. He's been the guy that's been able to do something for him in the post, but without Marion, I think it puts a lot more pressure on Steve Nash. Now, you mentioned Steve Nash earlier with 19 points. In the second half, Steve Nash has 3 points. He's 1 of 10 from the field, but he also has 7 assists. He still creates for him, but it's been the other guys that have been able to step up in the scoring department.
Score tied at 95 all. The Lakers lead in the series 2 games to 1. Game 5 would be Tuesday in Phoenix. Game 6 Thursday in Los Angeles. And obviously Game 7, if needed, would be in Phoenix.
And we talk about who has stepped up. Boris Diaw in the regular season, 14 points, 5 rebounds today. 21 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists.
And Diaw will bring it in bounds at 6'8". The young Parisian will have 10 seconds on the shot clock and 1:01 remaining in the ballgame with the score tied at 95. The inbounds comes to Nash. Working Vujacic outside, circling with a dribble, glances at the clock, 4 to shoot, and a whistle.
Vujacic, again, they run the screen roll, they switch. Tim Thomas gets Vujacic pinned up underneath the basket, and Vujacic just pulls Tim Thomas back, trying to get in front of him.
Foul on Vujacic. The first under the 2 minutes, 55 seconds remaining, so the Suns will not shoot free throws. They will bring it inbounds along the far sideline with 14 to shoot. Diaw will find Nash coming free to the 8-second mark. One-on-one on Vujacic. Off the Thomas screen, a race for 3, and bingo! Center of the court. Center cut for Nash. A 3-pointer right down the pipe. And the Suns lead 98-95.
And the whole time down the floor. Look at something's wrong with him, Kevin, because he's just bent over. He was holding his back as he was backpedaling, but yet still rises up and knocks down the shot.
45 seconds remaining in the overtime. Bryant takes it on a dribble handoff from Odom. Gives to Walton. Glances inside. Drives. Hands to Odom. Into the lane with the left hand to lay it up. Missed it. Jones in there providing resistance along with Thomas. The Suns with the recovery, and Nash now operating in the front court. Nash has been massaging that back much of the second half.
With no need to foul. It's still a 1-possession game for the Lakers.
The lob it to Diaw, doubled, gives to Thomas, over to Bell. Ball fakes, drives, cuts between defenders, bicycles the legs, throws an air ball that did not catch rim. The ball squirts free out of bounds. It'll be Laker basketball with 15 and 7/10 seconds remaining in the overtime. And the Suns leading 98-95.
And it looked like Raja Bell had a bad angle, but still tried to use the backboard. And as you talked about, caught no rim whatsoever. And then there was a scramble for it on the other side of the basket. It pops out of bounds. And the officials say it's Lakers ball.
Bryant, with 12 attempts this afternoon in 39 minutes of work, has never been able to find any kind of comfort level or rhythm in this game. They have repeatedly, when they've needed the big buckets, gone to Lamar Odom because he's been able to get to the free throw line 14 times. He's hit 11 of 14. That was the case there where he had that opportunity there. It looked like that left hand was free of defensive interference, but he just shot it long.
Yep, you said off the backboard a little too hard, and then they just spun off the front of the rim. And again, we talk about the discrepancy in the rebounding department. It was for the Lakers were out rebounding the Phoenix Suns by 10 a game. And then they were also killing them on the offensive end. I think it was total of, 35 offensive rebounds, 36 offensive rebounds to the Suns' 12. When you look at today's game, Phoenix Suns 41 rebounds, the Lakers only 42. So the Suns have been able to hold their ground. And most notably, we've talked about Shawn Marion, who's now out of the game with 12, Diaw with 8, Tim Thomas with 7, and the guy who we've noted during this series has been floating around the perimeter, has done some damage inside the paint on the defensive end.
Phil Jackson said that his ball club needed to play this game with desperation. How would you classify it today, though?
Well, it certainly didn't look like it for the first 3.5 quarters. Now they're playing desperation, but what they've also done is that they've helped raise the confidence level of this Phoenix Suns team because they've allowed them to hang around. Neither team has had a double-figure lead. You look at the Phoenix Suns, their biggest lead today was 8, and the biggest lead for the Lakers was 6, but that was early on, and this game has just gone back and forth and back and forth. And no team has really been able to hold a commanding lead, but again, this is just a 1-possession game. 15.7 seconds, 3-point lead. You really don't need a quick, you don't need a 3. You can get a quick 2, and then maybe get a steal. And we saw a steal at the end of regulation on one of the best ball handlers and free throw shooters in the league, of Steve Nash.
Lakers bring it in bounds in front court at the far sideline. Odom will swing it and play to Kobe Bryant. He'll back and whirl into the lane, turns the corner on Bell and laid it up and in off glass. 11 and 7/10 seconds remaining for the Suns, who lead by 1. Nash breaks free of Vujacic into front court. He is double teamed, tied up on a jump ball. Walton reaches into timeout. Nash rips it away, and he barks angrily at Bennett Salvatore.
I think he was trying to tell Bennett Salvatore that he was trying to call timeout? And it looked like he bent over and was looking at Bennett Salvatore, yelling timeout, and Bennett Salvatore refused. to make the call, and I think that's where the rule change will change next year, Kevin, because now coaches will be able to call timeout next year, correct?
Right, that's correct. Only players on the court this year can call timeouts. About to say fouls, they wish. Here's Nash now, along with Walton to jump it up. 6 and 1/10 remaining in the overtime, and the Suns leading 98-97. Tip won by Walton, flicks it outside to Kobe, takes it to midcourt. Kobe inside the three-point arc, fades and fires and hits at the buzzer. Kobe Bryant has hit a shot at the buzzer. Oh my goodness! Kobe with a buzzer beater, and the Lakers win the game, 99-98. It'll be interesting to see what Steve Nash has to say at the end of this game, because he was all over Bennett Salvatore, trying to tell Bennett that he was trying to call timeout prior to Bennett calling the jump ball. Let's hope that this game does not rest on a mistake made by the officials. Or should we say the fact that they did not see Steve Nash trying to call a timeout. But how about at the end of regulation, Steve Nash with a turnover. They are able to capitalize on the other end. And then towards the end of timeout, overtime, Steve Nash gets a jump ball situation. They cannot get the ball. Kobe Bryant hits the game winner. Luke Walton again, the unsung hero on the tip. He deflects the ball in the backcourt where Bryant can get a handle on it. It was on the second tip. But Walton was able to direct it out there. And then Kobe, fading over a double team, drills it at the buzzer. And the officials now, pending the review of the officials, the Los Angeles Lakers have won the game.
I don't think there's any doubt
in overtime.
This is a good basket, but how about that? Reportedly from the Arizona Republic last week, in a landslide, Steve Nash was named the MVP. And he was the one that had the two miscues at the end of this game.
And you're right. Clearly, the replay shows that ball was away and in, and it's ruled a good bucket. The Lakers win it 99-98. Lamar Odom is with us. Lamar, a sensational effort by the Lakers who did not give in.
Yeah, you got it.
Let's talk about you guys getting first into the overtime. The inbounds play, Suns up 2, 7 to 9, 10 seconds remaining.
Yeah.
And you come up with a big.
It was two plays. They were almost back-to-back for us to get the jump ball, and Nash ran up the sideline. And when he ran up the sideline, as soon as he got over half court, he gave us the opportunity to trap him. First smush, made the first incredible still. And then, me and Luke were able to trap him, and Luke got the hands on the ball and forced the jump ball.
All right, now I'm not sure if you're going to give us the answer or not, but Steve Nash was claiming to Bennett Salvatore that he was trying to call timeout. You were right there. Did you hear anything?
Well, I mean, in the playoffs, I think you got a better chance at giving the signal for a timeout, right?
It was loud in here. You are correct.
It's so loud,